Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming, free always. Don't miss anything, but if you do, we got you covered all 3 hours to be posted upon the conclusion of the program, both to iTunes and our own audio vault. All right, then. Find it on the WTSM app as well. That is free for your mobile devices. Email the show if you like, jcs at 979espnradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameron Show. YouTube, hello, YouTubers. Go to YouTube, type in, I don't know, ESPN Tallahassee or Jeff Cameron Show. You'll find it. And appreciate you watching. Well, what an eventful weekend it turned out to be. Florida State gets a win on the hardwood. Let's start with that. I'll get back to it in a moment, but let's just start with acknowledging the victory. A hideous game to take in, but a win nonetheless. And I certainly don't ignore wins in the ACC, especially for a team that's a little beat up. And trying to navigate these waters can be rough. Need to win home games, and they certainly did that and played real good defense in the second half. Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but I'll take that win. We'll get back to that game momentarily. Obviously, the Super Bowl was played and won, unfortunately, and I don't say this out of malice, but just I'm tired of seeing it this way, by New England. And there it is, six rings on the hand of Tom Brady now. And, listen, I like defensive football, and I know a lot of people don't, especially in this day and age where it's not rewarded, oftentimes rather penalized. Frequently. And so a lot of times when two coaching staffs come up with ingenious plans to slow down offenses, the officials won't allow for it. And I thought through stretches of time last night, it was great defense. I also thought through stretches of time last night, in particular with the Rams, it was poor offense. That said, it wasn't exactly an exhilarating Super Bowl, admittedly. And New England wins it. More on that in a moment. But the big news locally has to be that of one DeAndre Francois being dismissed. And in many ways, this is an easy show or topic for me to talk about, given that I've said for some time now I did not envision DeAndre Francois being the quarterback of this team. Now, yeah, I would not have guessed it was because of something like this. But let me speak on that for a second. Given that we don't know exactly when that was recorded and when this incident, alleged incident, or whatever it was that, and by the way, I have not seen the Instagram post. I'll tell you that right now, I haven't. But I'm aware of what's in it. And I don't know when it was recorded. I don't know, what laid out and what played out when and how that happened. I just know that obviously, Willie Taggart heard enough to know, can't have this, we're moving on. But that would tell me he was looking for a reason to move on. And he was given a reason to move on. I think what I would call into question is that this was ever a possibility. I thought DeAndre Francois and his brand of leadership, quote unquote, if you will, was not one that you needed in the locker room. Was not something that was going to, I guess, lurch your program forward. It wasn't something that was going to be part of the solution. If you're trying to flip culture, if you're trying to instill a different brand of leadership, if you're trying to get the focus back on team and camaraderie and all of that, then DeAndre Francois wasn't going to be your guy. And so I was bothered when, in the offseason, immediately following, we found out that DeAndre Francois did not have the requisite credits to graduate, and then announced to all who would follow on Instagram that he had unfinished business to take care of and would be back for Florida State. I thought that was a step back, and I thought it was at that point, if he could, Coach Taggart might want to think about informing DeAndre, thanks but no thanks. So as it stood, as of this weekend, it looked like DeAndre was at the very least going to be certainly taking classes and be part of spring football. I never thought he'd be here in the fall. I thought he'd finish up and then transfer. But the point is, this incident gave Willie Taggart the excuse he needed to tell DeAndre Francois, you're gone. We're done here. There's no vetting of this. There will be no spring for you. This is the end of it. Your time here at Florida State is over. And good. I don't know what took place, what didn't take place in terms of did he follow through with the threats or anything else. I just know that DeAndre Francois was not going to be part of the solution. Florida State, while publicly taking a a hit. I think nationally, I did a bunch of interviews today. In fact, we're going to post one of the interviews I did today from SiriusXM. I was on with Andy Staples and Jason Horowitz. You can. It's just worth putting it online. We're not going to play it here, but it's what is it, about 10, 12 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
I go through the whole thing, all the machinations and everything, so you can hear that. We'll post it online later today. But anyhow, I just think Florida State got better. It's addition by subtraction. And I think that you're kind of free from the burden of dealing with DeAndre Francois and all the baggage 12 brings to the table. And there's a lot of it, a lot of baggage. Some of it is perceived, some of it is real, but none of it was healthy. And I never questioned the kid's toughness. I never questioned his heart for the game, if you will. But I did question his motivations. I did question his brand of leadership. I did question a lot of decisions, comments, things he said and did over his time here at Florida State, especially as a quarterback. And so I'm, for one, relieved. And as I've been asked about it today, I've certainly noted that they're in an interesting position from a depth chart standpoint. I mean, yes, it certainly concerns you to some degree, but there's more to play out here in the coming days that will help clarify exactly what's what when it comes to that depth chart. And there may be even big news on that front that we're all going to kind of sit back and wait to see play out. Obviously, we got National Signing Day coming up, and you still got, whether or not Travis will get the waiver that he needs, Jordan Travis, to be eligible immediately. You're still recruiting kids, so we'll see. Grad transfers are a possibility, including Josh Jackson from Virginia Tech as a possibility, right? So there are a lot of things still out there that we're waiting on to kind of crystallize the quarterback depth chart. In the interim, certainly it looks like it's James Blackman's job to lose. That's all well and good, and we'll follow that, and it's not an ideal situation, but I do think you're freeing yourself from a burden. And that burden was DeAndre Francois. I don't think he was good for this program.
Well, the reluctance to rip the Band-Aid off was the hard part in November of this past season. And once it became apparent towards the end of November that James Blackman was going to redshirt, then it just got you even more mad. And by you, I mean me. Got me more mad that we would roll him out there in some meaningless games and meaningless situations if we were trying to count to 4, when it comes to playing games before you're protecting his status for a red shirt. And so you just felt this anchor holding everything down and holding the progress back a little bit because you're trying to jettison from the Jimbo Fisher era and the problems you had, the division you had in the locker room left over from that era into this year, and whatever buttons Willie tried to push, they didn't work. So we circled back to a lot of the same problems and same whispers that we had at the end of Jimbo's tenure. And then you felt like, all right, it's over. The national nightmare is over. And then you hear that DeAndre is not graduating, and so he might be here an extra semester. So this is outside of the heinous nature of domestic violence, which I think it's important to put in all caps right there. I'm speaking merely as a Noel fan. Separate that for this moment. This is very convenient for Florida State if you're trying to move from one station to the next station in terms of program development. And the thing that it does a favor for, the person it does a favor for, is Kendall Briles as well, because now he won't be the third straight offensive coach, offensive coordinator, so to speak, who has to worry about, well, do I go with this guy who's going to say all the right things and who has the potential to be a great player, or do I go with this other guy who, yes, he's flawed, but he seems to have the support of his teammates? You don't have to worry about making that decision this time.
No, and I think this speaks to a lot of bad luck and poor job of evaluation. I mean, there are a lot of things that make up this stew, if you will. I mean, we can go back and look at a number of guys that have been recruited and brought through this program that are no longer here, never really played it down, got in trouble, had whatever happened, didn't live up to the hype, didn't materialize. For as great as Coach Fisher was at player evaluations early on and in recruiting and what he was able to assemble that led to the 2013-2014 run of dominance, really was lost to him moving forward, in particular at that position, the quarterback position, because post Jameis Winston, it has been nothing but a struggle. And part of that is certainly, hey, look, it's going to be hard to live up to Jameis Winston, who was one of the greatest college quarterbacks in the history of the game. And it was going to be very difficult to find anybody to rival that level of competence on the field. And so by using that standard as, the judgment, we were going to be critical of whomever followed. They were never going to live up to the hype. Remember how many times we had to say, guys, it's not fair to be comparing so-and-so, Sean McGuire or anybody else, to Jameis Winston. It's just not going to happen. But surely you would have expected to do a hell of a lot better than we did, because one after the other, whether it's Malik Henry or DeAndre Johnson or any of these other guys that didn't materialize for a variety of reasons, Florida State has not had excellence at the position. They had some guys that kind of can get you through, you might be able to win with, and I would have put DeAndre, and I did put DeAndre in that category. I've said countless times I thought he was okay. I mean, when he gets hot, he can be pretty good. Rarely is hot for 4 quarters. Rarely is a guy that you felt like you would want to lead you into battle. Tough on the field, no doubt about it. Selfish off of it. A lot of different factors that led into him being sort of an okay quarterback, maybe slightly better than average quarterback, but not elite, not a great quarterback. Certainly nothing the caliber of what we've seen, say, at Clemson. So I don't know that that's going to get much better anytime soon. But I do know that the locker room element just improved. James Blackman's not going to be great. If he reaches his potential, he'll never be great. I never thought he could be great. I thought he could be good, and I still think he could be good, especially in this system. He might be good. Not great. Not great. He doesn't have greatness in him. I don't believe. We don't have – I don't know that we have that guy, and I don't know when we'll get him, but you see the level of quarterback play that Clemson's bringing in seemingly every year, and you go, man, they're in our division. They're our ACC rival. You better find something that is akin to that. Maybe not exactly that, but something that's in the same ballpark. And Florida State hasn't had it. Well, not even close.
You need a bridge, though. You need somebody who takes us from the dark days to something better. And
Agreed.
At least from the outside looking in, and this, I know he was rumored to be in the transfer portal. That thing never materialized. But James seems to be perfect for that job because I'm not talking about fit and scheme, but he seems to be perfect for that role. Because we're only talking about 8 or 9 wins. James is good enough to get you 8 or 9 wins. I 100% believe that. And as a fan, one thing that frustrates me is, if we're going to lose, I would rather lose with good guys. Guys that are going to advance the program, advance the culture to a place we want it to go, rather than lose with division. That's the thing. There's 80 million moments last year where you go, oh, my God, look at this guy, the demonstrative behavior towards a teammate. You see one player shutting down on the next. You see guys staring off into space.
Yeah, they're not all on the same page. Cow. Yeah, no, they weren't all in. No, I agree with you.
I mean, the number one thing that made me angry and sticks with me last year was when Nooney got tossed in the Clemson game and he chucks the helmet on the concrete walkway on the way out before he's in the privacy of the locker. You want to chuck stuff around in the privacy of the locker room. I understand. It's an emotional game. But you don't throw that helmet with that spear on the ground in the concrete of dough. I mean,
but see, he was another guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Another guy
I don't want to lose with guys.
Part of the solution.
If we're gonna fail, let me fail with some guys I can get behind.
Yeah, No, listen, I completely agree, and I think that again, the question has been, at least posited to me, another step back for Florida State. Florida State takes another hit from an image standpoint, and I've had to correct that. I've had to say, no, this is something that should have happened long ago. This is something that I thought would have been that you could have addressed it anyhow sooner than now. It wouldn't have been necessary to have this incident play out the way that it did to make the decision to move on. In a way, certainly I feel for that young woman if what's alleged to be on there happened. There's no doubt about that, and if that's true, I would prefer he be charged criminally, of course. But as for Florida State, the ability to move on, I think that they are now freed from DeAndre Francois' burden and what he was in that locker room.
And the next question, beyond Kendall Briles, the offensive mind, and the person who holds the keys to the offense, is what is the identity of that coach going to look like, and what's the tenor of practice, and what's the tenor of communication to the media? For example, DeAndre in November, when he comes out and speaks for the head coach, after Willie says in his press conference that we don't know the starter, and
we'll evaluate during the week.
Right, and DeAndre says, well, James understands it, and coach understands that I'm the starter, that I'm the guy. I mean, he said that much to me.
Yeah.
So if somebody speaks at a turn with the new offensive coordinator, how's that going to go? Is that going to fly? You at least took away one of the variables. That happened this weekend with the dismissal. But I'm interested to see what the line is between coach-player communication, coach communication with the media, player communication with the media. How does Kendall run his ship? And we'll see in just a few short weeks when spring practice starts.
Well, we got some good news over the weekend that didn't just involve addition by subtraction. Florida State, obviously you were excited about, as I was, because we talked about it last week, if we could get him. They were able to get Jeff Sims for the 2020 class, and they also got an outside linebacker, Stephen Dix Jr., who's a kid that a lot of people think very highly of. So linebacker is a position of need, big time, my friend. So
the cousin of Clinton Dix.
That's right. So good news for Florida State regarding recruiting and the weekend that was. And so now we all anxiously await Wednesday, and we'll see how this thing plays out. But there are a lot of elements and signs that things are going to be better in Tallahassee after this class and moving forward. Not great, not ready to roll and beat Clemson and go play for national titles next year, but moving in the right direction.
Things are looking up.
Yes, and they could continue to be if we get the right answers on Wednesday and we continue to hear about kids that have been offered and certainly coaxed into saying yes to Florida State if they, in fact, do.
It was funny. Between lunchtime and the kickoff of the Super Bowl yesterday, we were talking on the phone, and you had the same tone in your voice that I felt as an Noles fan, which was, okay, that's one fewer headache that we have to deal with. It seems like we've got some good momentum. These offensive linemen may say yes to us on Wednesday. I know they're 3 stars, but we need to throw bodies at the problem. Looks like the Plumlee kid had a good weekend here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Things were looking up.
Yeah.
No, looking up. Hey, again, if people think, and I know from a national perspective, the idea being that Florida State's nowhere close to where they need to be in order to compete for titles. And because that's the standard here, that you more often than not put yourself in a position to make a go of either conference titles or national titles, that Florida State's lagging. I get that. But things don't happen overnight when you've been down. And it's fair to point out that, yes, 5-7 just happened, and it was an abysmal season and not a good job in year one from Coach Taggart and his staff. 5-6 under Jimbo Fisher the year before. It's not as if this was a program humming along that just suddenly took a right turn into the side of the mountain. This program was in a bad place going back 3 years now, and a big part of that was the so-called locker room issues and toxicity of that locker room and the culture issues. And so you feel like you're starting to kind of navigate those waters a little bit better now and maybe get to a better place.
Probably the most good news of the weekend is around the Florida State football program with the commitments they got out of junior day and some of the news from the weekend visits. And who knows, maybe Nick Cross doesn't like Penn State all that much, and he might still say yes to Florida State. I felt the most positivity coming from there, even with a basketball win, because of the way the second half was played and how long it took and how ugly it was. And there could have been 12 people in there instead of 7,500 people. Everybody was dead. There was no atmosphere whatsoever to speak of.
Awful. There was no.
So you have a boring ass. I mean, the first half was a standard college basketball half. It was fine. The second half was terrible, and it had the video reviews and
poor officiating as always.
Bricks
poor
and planks
shooting,
and air balls.
Just pathetic.
And then the Super Bowl was boring yesterday, and Ricky Fowler's falling to pieces. And
got it together.
That was kind of interesting, but nobody wanted to take advantage of it, especially in his own group. There was a lot of boring stuff this weekend in sports, but Florida State football, away from the DeAndre situation, there's a lot of positive storylines.
But I even think that DeAndre, yes, I understand what you're talking about. The nature of that.
The nature of it.
You don't want to celebrate that. The nature of that is ugly, of course. But the freedom that comes with getting rid of the albatross of DeAndre Francois that's tangible.
We're all human in that regard, saying, oh, well, all right, if that's what it takes, that's not what I want. But
I always love when things like this end up happening. I always, we get in here and we have a show to do, and you start going through and you get the inbox, the email and your tweets and all this stuff. And I'm assembling all this stuff, and I had a bout of insomnia last night. I'm laying there. I'm reading through things. There's not a single person who's like, oh, this is devastating. Everyone's like, whoa, sucks, whatever happened there. That's a terrible thing. But my God, we're free of DeAndre Francois. Man, when did that happen? I mean, there were people who vehemently disagreed with me in the past when I said, probably time to move on. I don't know that those people are really all that vocal right now.
The argument was more two-sided when you got into 12 versus 1, but for me personally, it was when you speak for your head coach and then you're not disciplined for it. And part of that is not even DeAndre's fault. Part of that is,
staff, yeah.
you know, you got to check him, man.
All right, basketball and the Super Bowl. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
On your Mount Rushmore of baseball, I'm going with Ruth, Cobb, Aaron, and Mantle. Football, I've got Bradshaw, Peyton, Montana, and Brady. In basketball, Jabbar, Jordan, Bird, and LeBron. This debate could go on, but when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of personal injury law in Tallahassee, the choice is clear. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm, so avoid the underdog and go with the favorite. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey.
Hi, I'm Chris York with Monogram Art. While our name mentions monograms, we are a lot more than that. We offer a full line of corporate apparel to businesses and organizations, and we carry clothing brands such as Cutter & Buck, Nike Golf, Port Authority, and caps from Richardson, Outdoor Cap, Ahead, Yupong, and many more. We have the ability to create custom embroidered apparel that your employees will be proud to wear. So swing by our showroom at 2522 Capitol Circle Northeast or find us online at monogramart.com. Let us help you wear your brand.
At Hardee's, we grew up. We stopped sleeping with our handmade nightlights and pacifiers. But there was one childhood classic we couldn't kick, the grilled cheese. So we made our grilled cheese grow up into a handsome bacon thick burger. Freshly toasted sourdough, melted Swiss, and American cheese with crispy applewood smoked bacon on 100% Black Angus beef. The grilled cheese bacon thick burger. Only available for a limited time because it's so grown up and it's very busy and has very little work-life balance.
Hardee's because it tastes better.
Available now for a limited time at participating Hardee's restaurants.
Very no heating and air conditioning, keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
You can now quickly and easily schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. This winter, take advantage of great rebates and 0% financing for 36 months. Learn more online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 057652.
Barry no heating and air conditioning.
Hi, this is Gene Deckeroff for Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. 2019 is here, and we've got to get rid of all the remaining 2018s. And the only way to do that is to offer employee pricing on over 50 Jeep Wranglers in stock. We've never been able to offer such unbelievable prices on Jeep Wranglers, and with over 50 in stock, they all must go. Buy one for as low as $29,900 or save up to $5,600 on in-stock vehicles. The all-new 2019 Ram 1500 is Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and it's breaking all kinds of records. We have over 80 Ram 1500s in stock with up to $11,000 off MSRP. You can't go wrong. Motor Trend Truck of the Year and up to $11,000 off MSRP. It's the deal of the year. There's only one place to go. Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Or visit us on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. Dealer retains all rebates and incentives plus tax, tag, and dealer fee.
You gotta be so cold to make it in this world. Yeah, you're a natural, living your life cutthroat. You gotta be so cold. Yeah, you're a natural.
Alexa, play Imagine Dragons.
Okay.
'Cause you're a natural. I'm feeling hot as stone. You gotta.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get access to over 50 million songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
Do you have a son or daughter who has special needs age 14 or older? Register them today for Genesis Church's Night to Shine prom, sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation at nighttoshinetally.com. The 5th annual community-wide event being hosted by Genesis Church at the center of Tallahassee on February 8th from 5 to 9 p.m. Every guest with special needs will be given the true VIP treatment, including a red carpet entrance, complete with limousine rides, paparazzi, hair and makeup done by Aveda and Cabellos, flowers, shoe shines, food, karaoke, and dancing. At the end of the night, all of our guests will be named kings and queens of the prom. Register your guest or volunteer today at nighttoshinetally.com. That's nighttoshinetally.com.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Knowles get the win. Ugly game, but win is a win is a win, and you'll take it. I mentioned as much, obviously, on Saturday. Don't want to spend a ton of time on that game. Good Lord. Wasn't that something? As we noted, but, can't ignore a win. So, for starters, points were hard to come by. Sleeping Nooner didn't have anybody ready to go. I don't know, man. I just wonder, the game's fairly even in that first half. You see that, and second half, you're waiting to see what Florida State's going to do. And we were aggressive. We scored first 3 possessions. You have the Trent Forrest basket, and then Kofor and Mann. And at that point, it's 39-27, and all's well. The choo-choo's rolling with 17:44 to play. You're thinking, all right, we may end up. I don't know about you, Tom, but I was beginning to believe that this could be a rout, that Florida State was about to run away. We've seen this from Georgia Tech this year, right? Keep games close to halftime, but their inability to score consistently, they lack some skill there. I remember thinking, okay, so there's some elements here that Georgia Tech's not going to be able to overcome, and if we put together one of our patented runs, and Florida State's done that this year, that you could get up 15, 20 points and maybe walk on home, but it doesn't happen because we go ice cold and just could not hit a shot, and it just became almost unwatchable. And that deficit got cut down to 6 points, and the next thing you know, we're up here, we're looking at this shooting percentage that was a stark contrast to the first half. We scored 26 points. We shot 5 of 18 from the field in the half, 2 of 8 from beyond the arc. It was just 2 assists to 9 turnovers. Everything about the half was hideous. And also the Yellow Jackets weren't very good. They did get a bunch of offensive rebounds to keep themselves in the game. So at the end of the day, it becomes closer than it needs to. Florida State wins while shooting only 34% from the game. 4 of 16 for the game from beyond the arc. But 23 of 30 from the free throw line, and that gets you the win. And they were very good defensively, and it kind of looked like old school defense that we've seen from us over the years.
Yeah, I thought especially the second half, first couple of possessions in the half court, we were exceptional on defense, and that set the tone for a mini run when we looked like we were going to put this game away. We're up 6 at break, and Kofor played basically like a minute or two before he racked up 2 quick fouls. So I thought, well, that's a good sign. And Kabengele didn't play a whole ton in the first half. He hits a 3 for us, and I mean it changes when he's in the game.
Can we just play him more?
I don't know why.
Listen, we don't need to start Kamaji. I know you've fallen in love with the idea of it, but golly, man.
I mean, if you didn't look and watch him play in our offense and in our defense, and you saw that in 19 minutes he gives you 6 points and 8 boards, you say, well, that's pretty good. And he was tough along the glass in this game. He was notably tougher
really well.
Along the glass in this game. But sure, when your best player or maybe your second best player is only on the floor for half the game and he's not in foul trouble, you go, what's the deal here? Are we going to use him? They were mad at him early in the second half about something. I couldn't tell what it was. Maybe it was a closeout.
Get over it because he's your best player.
Okay.
I mean, I don't get it.
I wasn't mad at him.
I know you're not. I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense. He's your best player. He's instant offense. He's a guy that plays with extreme confidence. He's skilled. He's only getting better. I know that he has a role, and everybody plays roles on this team. It's just if I have a criticism, first of all, never feed Chris Kamaji in the post. Never run your offense through Kamaji, ever, under any circumstance, unless he's all alone under the basket and he's going to be free to dunk it. And even then, hold your breath. But there's no reason to come down and feed the ball to him. It's a turnover waiting to happen. It just is.
He only turned it over twice.
I'm just saying it's never going to go right. It's going to be stagnant. It's awful. It's hideous.
It is hideous. And the second half was, I know it's low scoring in the first half, but I thought that was a standard college basketball game, and we just put it together a little bit at the end of the half. And like I said, for Kofor being in foul trouble, felt pretty good about it. The second half was the abomination. I mean, that's crazy. We were sitting at 41, 42 points for it felt like a half an hour of real time.
Days.
And I think that might be accurate. I don't know that I'm exaggerating.
No, there was just nothing fun about that game. Hey, you won the game, man. You win the game, and we're not good against a zone, and we struggled kind of predictably against it. I feel like, and I don't know, the stats may not back me up on this, and I double check on this, but I really feel like we're freed up to shoot better on the road. I remember the Pitt performance, so I won't, in BC, those 2 games where we looked awful, but maybe it's just that the residue of the Miami game that has me thinking that we look freer in our shot.
MJ does. MJ's 0 for 7 in this game.
Yeah.
0 for 7.
Yeah.
He had some good looks, too. It's just you need to make 1 or 2. Come on.
Savoy gives you 6 points. He 1 of 3. He hit 1.
Hit 1 in rhythm in the second half.
Yeah, hit 1. It's just.
This checked all the boxes. I mean, you had the video replays. You had 3 of them. I remember the one inbounds play or out of bounds ruling, and that was on the heels of the mega delay that we had on is the ball out of MJ's hands and does it touch the rim, and the way it goes out of bounds. We was watching with a couple of people up.
Once a game, buddy. Once a game. Officials are good for the complete stoppage of any momentum or rhythm of a game.
How about this is a hat trick? You could have given him a hat trick here, and it checked all of the boxes of this is why college basketball is terrible for the casual person who says, I don't watch that. All I do is watch the NBA because there's not enough skill. If they try to tune into this one, they would have said, see, I'm going to go back. I'm not going to watch another game for 10 years. Now, hopefully that person did not watch Virginia Tech, NC State, because if they watched that one, we thought we were bad.
I
didn't
were
see
completely
that game. Outdone.
I saw the 24 points. I saw that it was awful and embarrassing and any number of other adjectives to describe what took place in that game, but I didn't.
I didn't believe it. So I got shown it on the phone. Our mutual friend showed me the.
Sure, that's not halftime.
The score. I said, no way, that's a halftime score. And so secondary source, and it was the Google score. Same thing.
Final. Yeah.
You have got to be kidding me.
Well, that gets us to other results over the weekend, which saw North Carolina knock out Louisville 79-69, Virginia 56-46 over Miami. Another Miami loss, Tom. Syracuse held off Pitt 65-56, and that's obviously the next opponent. Notre Dame beat BC in Chestnut Hill 79-73. It hurt your feelings a little bit to see Notre Dame go there and beat Boston College.
Get their second win in the ACC.
So what do you mean? Some kid didn't decide to go 5 for 5, falling out of bounds, nothing but net every time he hoists a shot?
Their one stud had 25, but, it was that second kid. It was when this, Mm-hmm.
Never again. And then Duke obviously beat St. John's up 91-61, and Zion ended up having 29 points, and that's not much of a matchup. There was a time where St. John's had a program.
St. John's, didn't they stun Duke last year or the year before?
Might have, yeah.
It's different in the Garden, though. Yeah.
Virginia's 8-1 atop the conference now, obviously 20-1 overall. Duke sits at 7-1, as does North Carolina. Virginia Tech, real good basketball team, 18-3, 7-2, top 10 squad now. Louisville at 7-2 in the conference. Syracuse 7-2. This is a real good conference. But Florida State moves up to 500 and ahead of NC State now from a winning percentage standpoint, 4-4. Now ranked again, if you care about those sorts of things. And oh, by the way, just so you know, the net and the RPI. I know some people care about that. We're 25 and 31 respectively. So Florida State's resume is such that they are moving directly into the NCAA tournament with a mid-level seed.
Virginia Tech could have scored 25 points on Saturday and won a college basketball game.
Mm-hmm. Not a good look for the sport.
Could have scored.
Not a good look for the sport.
25 points.
Yeah.
Zion beat NC State by himself this weekend.
So there it is. Georgia Tech fell to 3-6. Clemson's 3-5. NC State's 4-5. Boston College, Notre Dame, and Pitt all round out the bottom of the conference. So as does Miami and Wake, I should say. Make sure I got to get Miami in there. They are 1-8, 9-12 overall. They are 1-8.
Can we play them again?
Oh, I'd like to play
Probably
them 15
hurt our net too
times.
much, right?
Oh, keep playing them. Just keep garnering wins. Over and over and over again and let them feel the wrath. The Super Bowl talk begins. I know you're saying, good Christ, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, Cameron? Come on, do you really want me to talk about the Super Bowl? You watched it. Everything about it sucked. I enjoyed the defense. I did. I wasn't the guy that was saying, oh, this is boring because of defense. It's just the pace of that game left something to be desired. I did enjoy, some of the elements of the defensive strategy that were talked about. But, yeah, I mean, I would have liked a little infusion.
So I just watched it at the house yesterday. No, I didn't go to a party or anything.
I just watched it at the house, too. Yeah.
And so, it's pretty silent during the game. Even the commercials were terrible at halftime. I don't know what was the worst part. Was it the commercials, the game, or halftime performance?
Well, I had no doubt that was going to be.
That was the trifecta, though. And third quarter, getting towards the end of it, and Jamie goes, God, this game's terrible. Like, she finally reached her wit's end.
She was like, what are we doing? Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah, to me, again, defense. I love defense. If you give me 17-16 or something like that, where it's just a knockdown, drag-out, beat the hell out of you, good, red zone performances, whatever it might be.
There wasn't a red zone play at that point.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I needed a couple of moments in the red zone. Give me just at least a thought that somebody might score, have a chance to score. I don't need a ton of offense. I don't want arena football, and I'm tired of the way the NFL has kind of legislated good defense out of the game. So I'll take 20-17. I'll take 17-14. We're dealing with 3-0 well into this game. It's 3-0. It's 3-0.
It's like
now it's 3-3.
They cross their own 40. You're like, woo!
Ooh! Oh, somebody is threatening midfield. Let's lock in.
We're a roughing the passer call away from being in field goal range, almost.
Yeah, and especially with Zerline, who knows? Get up to that midfield stripe. We may have something here. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get access to over 50 million songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
I'm Michael Blank, attorney with the Law Office of Jose Fernandez. If you've been in an accident, I know this can be a scary and confusing time. Our firm specializes in handling all types of accident and injury cases. Let us guide you through the process and get you the compensation you deserve. Call 855-HOSE-305 to make an appointment for your free consultation today. If you can't come to us, we can come to you, day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, the Law Office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid unless you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. Se habla español. JRFinjury.com.
Guys, are you tired of being tired? Frustrated because it seems impossible to lose belly fat? If you're looking for a solution, listen to Dave.
Andro 400, I really love it. I've lost 50 pounds. I was a size 38 waist. I've gone down to a 32 waist. My mood has changed. I don't get stressed out. It gave me so much more energy. It feels like I'm 25. I'm so happy. I'm just a completely different man.
Andro 400 Max, an extra strength, all natural testosterone booster. The safe and affordable way to gain energy and lose stubborn belly fat. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Go to andro400.com or call 888-510-9336. That's 888-510-9336.
All right, Peloton, keep it going. Thanks for riding with me today. You're halfway through this 30-minute hip-hop ride.
Now double your money and make it stack.
For all my first-time Peloton riders, how far will you go this year? Remember, your finish line is just the beginning. Get after it.
Learn more about the Peloton bike at onepeloton.com.
Napa know-how.
Right now, you can get a $20 prepaid Visa gift card by mail with the purchase of a Napa Legend Premium Battery. Its durability and power make it the obvious choice for people who hate getting stranded by a dead car battery. So pretty much everyone. The Napa Legend Premium Battery and $20 back. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care Centers. Limit 2 per household while supplies last. Offer ends 2/28/19.
What's up, Eddie?
What's up, Jeff?
You know, buddy, that I like archaeology, right?
Yeah. I'm quite an anarchist myself.
Right. Well, anyhow, do you know what they find the world over when they excavate? You know the item they find the most of?
I don't know, rocks?
Freaking bowls.
Bowls?
Bowls everywhere. In Rome proper, right? Bowls upon bowls upon bowls.
That's very interesting.
What's the high school over in Jacksonville, the one with all the good football players?
Bowls?
Right.
What are you getting at here, Jeff?
Mo used what to cut his hair?
I don't know, Jeff. What is a bowl?
Boom. A bowl indeed.
Hey, that gives me an idea.
Really?
We should have bowls here at Gordo's. We can do all kinds of bowls. We can do chicken bowls, fish bowls. We can do steak bowls, pork bowls, veggie bowls. Brilliant. I'm a genius. Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, the accolades continue for Patriots coach Bill Belichick after he joined some exclusive company following the Patriots' 13-3 victory over the Rams in Super Bowl 53. Belichick matched George Halas and Curly Lambeau as the only coaches to win 6 NFL titles, an accomplishment lauded today by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
Coach has had incredible success and unprecedented success, and we're grateful to see him continue to bring football teams and bring them together in a way that I don't think any coach has ever done in the history of the game.
Between his time as an assistant coach and head coach, Belichick has coached in 12 Super Bowls, the most by any coach in NFL history. The Bengals are soon expected to finalize a deal to make Rams quarterback coach Zach Taylor their new head coach. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers told the NFL Network he should be able to fully take part in the Packers' offseason program because he was able to avoid surgery on his left knee. Rodgers would only reveal that the injury sustained in the regular season opener was a sprain. Eagles QB Carson Wentz refuted multiple details in a story published last month by the Philly Voice, but did not dismiss the story outright, acknowledged he could have been a better teammate as he navigated a difficult year professionally. Wentz was described in the story as egotistical, selfish, and uncompromising, which cited more than a half dozen players, all quoted anonymously. NBA league sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski Nets guard Karis LeVert returning to full 5-on-5 practices, and there is optimism he'll return to the lineup for the All-Star break. LeVert, out since mid-November with a dislocated right foot, has made steady progress and is expected to practice with the Nets G League team this week. Brooklyn currently holding on to 6th in the East. In the latest AP college basketball poll, Tennessee is the top-ranked team in the country for a third straight week. Duke is at number 2 and Virginia 3.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man.
Part of that problem with the Super Bowl was that it came on the heels of the most points in a Super Bowl game ever played just last year. Eagles, Patriots, most yardage. Sorry, not points. Most yardage in Super Bowl history. The Patriots and Rams scored the fewest points in Super Bowl history last night. I said that I rather enjoyed the defense. I'm not lying about that. I did. I'm tired of watching, 48-45 or anything akin to that. So I did want to see a more defensive-minded game. But Yeah, I would have liked a little more yardage, a few more points, a little something. The threat of it, as we were saying before the break, just the threat of a red zone appearance, the possibility that somebody may score a touchdown. Yeah, that sooner than say the third quarter. Give me a little something in the first half. Maybe one or two. That's all.
It was something. I think we both handicapped this thing right in certain ways, which you were staring 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you, Jared Goff.
Yeah, I don't believe in him.
I thought the interior of the Rams' defensive line was going to do some work, and it did. But, you would think that still means the offense carries the day for a drive or two somewhere along the way.
Somewhere along the way, yeah.
And it did not.
I think the only thing I cared to be right about, and I was resoundingly so, was the Patriots minus 2.5, Tom. And that, my friend, made all of it well worth it. Big Daddy J had a big day. And I was very pleased, as was anybody else that thought 2.5. Okay. Seems like an easy win for me. Turns out to be true.
Well, the crazy thing is, so if you're a Rams fan, you're saying, God, all we needed was 14 points? We needed 14 points and we're Super Bowl champions.
They could still be playing football, and they weren't going to touch 14 points.
And well, it's true. But
my God.
If you're a Patriots fan, you say, all right, well, we scored 13. We win the Super Bowl. Not only do we score 13 and win the Super Bowl, this is the largest margin of victory for us in any Super Bowl victory we have. Think about that.
Well, again, one of the things that's easy to point to, and one of the great testaments to what New England is, malleable. They'll beat you any way you want to play it. You want this? You want to play in a shootout? They've been in shootouts. They were just in one last year. I know they lost that game, but they were right there. They've won it every which way but Sunday. They've scored a ton of points, and they've scored very few. And even within a season, not just Super Bowls, we've seen them do that, but even within a season, I mean, you look what they did by going on the road and defeating Kansas City. They adapted to what they had to do in that situation. You're talking about freezing temperatures and one of the best offenses the league has seen in years and years and years, the MVP, everything else. They go on the road and they possess the football. They totally dictate terms for 2.5 quarters. It's an electrifying fourth quarter that leads Kansas City all the way back. But even then, at home, with momentum, New England still wins that football game. And they always seem to do, in these moments where they have to prove themselves, even as a flawed team, the thing necessary to put themselves in a position to win the Super Bowl or a meaningful football game. They don't always win it, but they do whatever they have to do to get in a position. It reminds you, until this past year, of Alabama. Nick Saban's track record, it's not like they go undefeated every year. We know that. But they, until this last year, never get blown out. They're always in a position, no matter how you want to play it, to be in that game, to have a chance to win that game. Now, Clemson beat their ass this year, but even then, between the 20s, they were fine. They just, red zone, they got bogged down. But that reminds me of the Patriots.
So your favorite guy was doing post-game coverage for ESPN last night. You saw they gave the desk back to Chris Berman for
I didn't see that.
post-game coverage.
I didn't watch any of it.
Well, he was there. He looked like he may have been as inebriated as he was when the Cubs won the World Series, the way he drove the first 20 minutes, because Bill Belichick came to the desk within basically 2 minutes of their open. And they're doing their first wave of analysis. They're about to go do scores, and then Belichick walks up. So I keep it there because I want to hear from Belichick. And nobody asked the question. They had him for a long time. It was one of those where he was given some shorter answers, saying, all right, I'm going to go now to the locker room, because he hadn't done his official media availability for, the regular press that are all there. And they still kept asking questions, and nobody picked his brain about the decision to kick the ball with about a millimeter between first down, game over, and, a disaster, a potential disaster where Gostkowski misses a kick and L.A. has good field position down only 7. What did you think of that choice in that moment? Because to me, that's one of the few really interesting moments of the game. Tom Brady is all-time great at sneaking the ball, but they do have 2 excellent interior
I thought
players.
You kicked the field goal and you take your chances.
Really, from 40-plus?
Yeah, because if you make that kick, and he is one of the greatest kickers in NFL history, statistically speaking, he makes that kick 90% of the time. I'm gonna bet on them to execute that play when they have to execute that play. And, because that interior was so good with the Rams, and that's another big decision there, I'm taking the points because it ends the game. It effectively ends the game.
So does Tom Brady, one of his hallmark plays, for all the throws and all the moments. He's one of the best to ever do it when it comes to the quarterback sneak.
Don't disagree, but I'm not betting on that as opposed to a guy I know, as long as it's not blocked, is going to execute that kick. It's not such a distance that he's got to fire it low.
Well, he missed one earlier in the game from a similar distance.
I know, but you don't base your decision on that. You base on the entirety of his career and the exceptional consistency with which he does make that kick, not that he missed one earlier. And I think, again, they talk to kickers. You get a sense of why that happened. I'm sure, there was a reason given that made them feel pretty good about if he had to make another kick. And he already had.
But I find that interesting because you could say, I'm not worried about what the Rams' interior rush is doing. I'm going to go with a guy who has exceptional consistency in executing a 4th and inches or a 4th and goal from the half-inch line. And it's my guy. And he's going to go win me the football game as a 6-time Super Bowl champion. And you could see it. You knew they were going to do it about 15 seconds before they actually made the call, because when they called timeout after running it down to 1 on the play clock, it's McDaniels. It's a small council. It's McDaniels, Belichick,
right.
and Brady. And Brady has his helmet up on his head or off, and you see the long face. He's going, "You've got to be kidding me." And his hands are on his knees. So you know that Belichick is leaning towards kicking the football, and his eyes get really big.
It's really funny because I was actually having the discussion with my wife, who doesn't care about football strategy at all, and she was just interested in what I'd say. Do you know I instantly said, I'm not Bill Belichick, but I instantly said kick the field goal. I just felt like they practice all of the little things to the nth degree, and they seem to always execute those things when they need to. Whether it was the 2-point play against the Falcons in the Super Bowl, whatever it was, they have the ability to execute when the pressure is at its greatest. It's one of the things that makes them different than seemingly every franchise playing the game today. And I just figured there's no way they're going to let that get blocked, and this guy has been a picture of consistency in his career. He's going to make that kick. It's indoors. There's no weather to worry about. He's going to make the kick. Now, if he misses it, I got a lot to answer for, and so would Bill, I suppose. But I think the other reason is that he knows the Rams aren't going anywhere. They can't drive the ball. They can't do anything against my defense.
Which could be the same conclusion for calling a sneak. That's why I find this really interesting. Either way, there is some risk. I feel there is less risk in snapping the ball, giving it to Tom Brady to get 2 inches net gain. I mean, if it's 4th and a 1.5 feet, then I'm with you on kicking the ball all day long. I was shocked because I thought the spot was pretty good. I was shocked at how close it actually was to a first down. I thought, honestly, they were just going to give him the first down, the way that it looked from the camera angle. It looked like they might have had the football far enough.
Yeah, I thought they were close enough, yeah.
But, that's the distance. That's it. It's not all of 1 yard. It's barely an inch.
Well, there's a reason that, Coach Fisher and others have talked about the kinds of plays where when you get bogged down in the red zone, when you get down inside the goal line there, that anymore, those guys go big. This is the Belichick thing we talked about before, and you can't get any kind of penetration. You can't get any movement at all. You're stood straight up. And I think he had enough respect at that point in the game, having seen what the Rams' defense was for most of that contest, to say, you know what? I have faith we can snap this, and he'll make that kick. And if he makes it, it is over. The game is over instantly. I know what you're saying, too, but it is definitely over at that point.
They're both. They both would be over. And I understand it, too, because, the interior is the best part of that Rams defense.
Yeah.
So I do get it. And maybe if you're Breeze, you let him do it because he's so much better at the little looky-loo.
Well, if you're Breeze, apparently you pull him out of the game and you put in that other guy who's not That's what they do in New Orleans. They just pull their Hall of Fame quarterback off the field. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9. ESPN Radio, Warchant.com. Going to join us next.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
You can can now quickly and easily schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. This winter, take advantage of great rebates and 0% financing for 36 months. Learn more online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 057652.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
Okay, that ought to do it. Thanks, Jessica, for coming over and helping me declutter my home.
You're welcome. That's what friends are for. Ooh, check it out. I found some loose change in this corner.
That is the second time you have found some hidden treasures in my house.
Do you know you can find savings in every corner of your home?
Okay, I'm listening.
You can find savings from the city of Tallahassee. With their 5% interest financing for more than 25 energy-efficient appliances, measures, and systems, you can get a loan for things like outdoor lighting, floor, ceiling, and wall insulation, Energy Star reflective roofing, and even things like gas ranges, fire logs, and grills.
Wait, even on grills? I've been shopping around for a new gas grill. I had no idea, and with it getting even darker, I could use some outdoor lighting. It seems the City of Tallahassee's loan program may be the perfect solution.
Well, just be sure and invite me over the next time you grill.
Of course, that's what friends are for.
Take advantage of the City of Tallahassee's loan program and save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com to learn more. That's talgov.com for more information.
Hey, sports fans, who's on your Mount Rushmore of baseball? I'm going with Ruth, Cobb, Aaron, and Mantle. Football, I've got Bradshaw, Peyton, Montana, and Brady. In basketball, Jabbar, Jordan, Bird, and LeBron. This debate could go on, but when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of personal injury law in Tallahassee, the choice is clear. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm, so avoid the underdog and go with the favorite, Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey.
At Hardee's, we grew up. We stopped sleeping with our handmade nightlights and pacifiers. But there was one childhood classic we couldn't kick, the grilled cheese. So we made our grilled cheese grow up into a handsome bacon thick burger. Freshly toasted sourdough, melted Swiss, and American cheese with crispy applewood smoked bacon on 100% Black Angus beef. The grilled cheese bacon thick burger. Only available for a limited time because it's so grown up and it's very busy and has very little work-life balance.
Hardee's because it tastes better.
Available now for a limited time at participating Hardee's restaurants.
All right, Peloton, keep it going. Thanks for riding with me today. You're halfway through this 30-minute hip-hop ride.
Now double your money and make it stack.
For all my first-time Peloton riders, how far will you go this year? Remember, your finish line is just the beginning. Get after it.
Learn more about the Peloton bike at onepeloton.com.
Napa know-how. Right now, you can get a $20 prepaid Visa gift card by mail with the purchase of a Napa Legend Premium battery. Its durability and power make it the obvious choice for people who hate getting stranded by a dead car battery. So pretty much everyone. The Napa Legend Premium battery and $20 back. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care centers. Limit 2 per household while supplies last. Offer ends 2/28/19.
Hey, this is FAMU beat writer Rory Sharrock. Join me Friday at 6 p.m. for the Rattler Review. We're talking all things FAMU. Great interviews with players, coaches, and alumni. The Rattler Review, Fridays at 6 p.m. right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, the accolades continue for Patriots coach Bill Belichick after he joined some exclusive company following the Patriots' 13-3 victory over the Rams in Super Bowl 53. Belichick matched George Halas and Curly Lambeau as the only coaches to win 6 NFL titles, an accomplishment lauded today by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
Coach has had incredible success and unprecedented success, and we're grateful to see him continue to bring football teams and bring them together in a way that I don't think any coach has ever done in the history of the game.
Between his time as an assistant coach and head coach, Belichick has coached in 12 Super Bowls, the most by any coach in NFL history. The Bengals are soon expected to finalize a deal to make Rams quarterback coach Zach Taylor their new head coach. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers told the NFL Network he should be able to fully take part in the Packers' offseason program because he was able to avoid surgery on his left knee. Rodgers would only reveal that the injury sustained in the regular season opener was a sprain. Eagles QB Carson Wentz refuted multiple details in a story published last month by the Philly Voice, but did not dismiss the story outright, acknowledged he could have been a better teammate as he navigated a difficult year professionally. Wentz was described in the story as egotistical, selfish, and uncompromising, which cited more than a half dozen players, all quoted anonymously. NBA league sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski Nets guard Karis LeVert returning to full 5-on-5 practices, and there is optimism he'll return to the lineup for the All-Star break. LeVert, out since mid-November with a dislocated right foot, has made steady progress and is expected to practice with the Nets' G League team this week. Brooklyn currently holding on to 6th in the East. In the latest AP college basketball poll, Tennessee is the top-ranked team in the country for a third straight week. Duke is at number 2 and Virginia 3.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Good Monday. Hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. Sometimes you do. You know that. We got you covered. All 3 hours get posted upon the conclusion of the show, both to iTunes and our own audio vault, as well as the WTSM app. Email us, if you will, jcs at 979espnradio.com. Let's do this. I like doing this, especially during busy times, and he wrote a really good article documenting all of Florida State's struggles. Go to warchant.com to read it. We bring in our friend Ira Shafel. Hello, Ira. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good, man. I've wanted DeAndre Francois gone for some time. He is now. Your article was an excellent one, documenting just how bad the struggle has been at Florida State in finding a quarterback. After writing it, did you come to any conclusions? Was there a commonality there? Was there anything, a eureka moment where you say, Jimbo Fisher really screwed this place?
I tried to say I go too far. Kind of finding a way that Jimbo would come back. So, and then they get upset when you do that. So I just kind of laid it out more as a Florida State problem than a Jimbo Fisher problem. Mm-hmm. But just talking to you, Jeff, I'll say that, I think Jimbo, I think two things happened. One is, I think when recruits saw how he treated maybe E.J. Manuel and some of his quarterbacks, that maybe that cooled off some kids on wanting to come play for him. And I also think that I think Jimbo thought he could turn anybody into a great quarterback. I really think he felt like, again, the great example to me, and this is a kid who didn't have any character problems, but J.J. Cosentino, his senior year of high school, played in like 15 or 16 games in Pennsylvania and threw for 771 yards. I mean, it's like 50 yards a game. But Jimbo felt like he needed to be a quarterback at Florida State. I just think, and, there were so many red flags about Malik Henry, even about DeAndre Francois, and it just seemed like Jimbo thought he could turn anybody into a quarterback, and I just think that that's such a huge position that it's crazy how cavalier he was when it came to recruiting quarterbacks.
Well, you're correct to point out, certainly, that they're in dire need of better leadership at the position, and I think that's where they get helped out here. It's addition by subtraction. I think that you could argue back and forth, and a lot of times we all did to varying degrees, about how effective a quarterback DeAndre Francois was and who was the right guy for the job or not the right guy for the job. But there was no arguing, I don't think, anyhow, about his lack of leadership and inconsistency and selfishness. And now you rid yourself of that. And while you're thin and it is disconcerting, there is no doubt that James Blackman loves this university, loves his teammates, loves this football program. You're not going to have to worry about that with him. At the same time, I guess I would ask you, assess the situation at Florida State. I know you've been asked countless times today and yesterday, I'm sure I was, and I have been as well, about what this means for Florida State. I thought by and large they unburdened themselves and took a step forward in providing the kind of leadership and an element they want in the locker room.
I mean, I personally agree with you, and I think it's hard to say that at times when you talk about it. You're taking a guy who's started 2 years of football for you, a quarterback, and saying somehow you're better off with him leaving. But I think the thing to me is, the things you want in a quarterback. DeAndre is extremely tough. There's no doubt about that, and he has a lot of physical skills. But the things you want in a quarterback in terms of winning football, in terms of making good decisions and making teammates better and getting teammates to play harder for him and all those things, that just never really materialized, and there was no real sign it was going to. So if that's not going to happen, I thought during the bowl season, things really crystallized to me watching some of the quarterbacks at some of these other teams. The Erlanger kid at Texas, some of these quarterbacks at some of these other schools that aren't necessarily the most gifted athletes in the world or necessarily NFL draft picks or high NFL draft picks, but just the kids at LSU that transferred to LSU that played so well in their bowl game. But guys that just understood how to play the game and how to get the ball to their teammates and how to make good decisions and just were good leaders. And I really think that's, especially in college football, that's where you got to go. I don't think it's a matter of finding the guy who's going to be a number one NFL draft pick. It's finding the guy who can be a great college quarterback. And there's a lot of options out there to do that. And I think, this is really going to define, I think where this program goes is how Willie Taggart and Kendall Briles do in terms of evaluating quarterbacks that give them everything they need to succeed at the college level.
What did you make of, I guess I viewed this and thought clearly Willie Taggart was looking for a reason to let DeAndre Francois go. We don't know exactly when this incident occurred, if it was from the original incident that was in his timeline in the past, the domestic that is, that was later, no charges were filed. And if anything, the way it read in the police report, it kind of seemed favorable to him. Or at least that incident did, and that maybe he was protecting himself or something, and this maybe certainly puts doubt into that. But I've wondered why it took this long. I would have already dismissed him or certainly informed him he was not part of the future. This gave Willie the opportunity, and rightfully so, to do that. But what did you make of the decision, the timing of it, and then also why it took something like this?
Well, I do think, and I don't know this for 100% for a fact, but from talking to people around the program, I do get the sense that this audio was from the first incident. And, I think what happened was when DeAndre called the police and, he actually was held up kind of as the standard of how to handle a situation like that, was that he called the police. And his story was that he just removed her from the apartment because she was throwing things. And he also had a teammate backing him up. DeQuandre White backed up his account. So, and I think the girl kind of changed her story a little bit to defend DeAndre. So that's why that case got dropped. But now the audio comes out, and if I'm Willie Taggart or John Thrasher or David Coburn, the interim athletic director, and I hear this audio and I go to DeAndre and say, hey, is this you? Is that incident? Because this is not what you described to me. And then I think it's a pretty open and shut case. I mean, if he was investigated for domestic violence a year ago and lied to them, and then an audio comes out maybe portraying that he actually was hitting her, I don't think it was a hard decision at all. So I don't know whether or not Willie was looking to part ways or looking for an easy out, but I don't think he had any option once that audio came out.
No, I don't think he had any option either, and I didn't really word that as eloquently as I would have liked to. It's just it seemed to me there was already enough evidence long before something as heinous as this had come forward that you needed to move on from him. But I don't know that they felt that way, and obviously that's just me throwing out my opinion there. But
and here's the challenge with that. And I talked to a former player today, the guy that was in that locker room last season, and a lot of those guys like DeAndre. The perception of DeAndre inside that locker room among the players is different from what the fans think, is different from what the media thinks, is different probably from what the coaches think. So anytime you're dismissing a player from the team, you got to make sure you're being fair because the kids watch that. And they want to know that they're going to be treated fairly. And we've seen some comments on social media from players not lashing out at the coaching staff, but basically taking up for their guy. And so, it's easy for us to say you want to take a hard line, but the players sometimes, they're always watching those kinds of things, and it can affect your relationships with those guys as well.
Yeah, and that was one of the problems I thought he had, that even if he had wanted to move on, certainly you couldn't kick a kid out of school who was taking classes, and then the kid, in DeAndre's case, had announced that he had unfinished business and would be back, and I thought, gosh, I would be inclined to say, no, we don't need you back, but really, that's probably not a good practice, generally speaking, unless you have ample reasons to do so, because kids are, in fact, watching, and they do care very much about what you do with their teammates. So Florida State, either way, does move on now, and obviously the next step is for James Blackman to take the reins here, one would think. Do we know regarding Jordan Travis when they'll know about a waiver?
No, I haven't heard anything specific, and I don't know that how quickly those things get turned around. I would say that, the good thing is he's going to practice, and I do think they're going to, there's a good chance that they're at least going to get one of these two quarterbacks on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Lance Legendre, I'll never know how to pronounce his name. Lejeune. Yeah, I think there's a really good chance they're going to get him. They may get the Plumlee kid, so those two guys will be here this summer, and then you also have. There's still potential for still possibly landing a transfer. So I think they're going to have quarterbacks in camp this summer. Really, this spring, they're just going to have two guys. Whether or not Travis is eligible this fall or not, he'll at least be able to go through spring practice.
You're hearing the same rumors about Josh Jackson. What can you add to that, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, that's the word going around, is that he's interested in Florida State. Did you talk to him at the ACC kickoff?
I did. I spent some good time with him. I actually interviewed him, about a 10, 15-minute interview that I thoroughly enjoyed. He's an impressive young man.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a really, really bright kid. And, we're focused on Florida State right now. I'm very surprised that he's leaving Virginia Tech. And, he's a good athlete, big, strong kid. I mean, he definitely seems like he'd be somebody Florida State would definitely be interested in. And it sounds like he's interested in Florida State. So, we'll have to see, but that would be, that would be a huge pickup. I don't know. I haven't gone to check and see where he is in school. I know he's only been in school for a few years, but he might have been one of those kids that came in with a lot of credits and could graduate early. But, I don't think the door is shut completely on them bringing in another quarterback.
Yeah, I think it would be huge to get a kid like Josh Jackson. Not only has he played in big games and played pretty well, but as you noted, he's a bright kid, and he comes across certainly as a really good kid. I think he would add something to your locker room. So you got talent and experience and possibly and intelligence and possibly obviously strong character to boot. That sounds like a no-brainer for Florida State. All right, real quick, what do you make of this basketball team? An ugly win, but a win nonetheless. And by the way, how's your face? I know you got kicked.
I'm fine, buddy. It was a little harrowing there as the kid came flying over the Golden Girls into my lap, but no, it was fine. It just crushed my laptop. That was the biggest problem. As far as the basketball team goes, I think that I wasn't bothered by that game. That game felt very much to me like a game where you're just kind of doing what you got to do to get the win, and it wasn't going to be pretty because of how Georgia Tech plays. At the same time, I don't have a great feeling about them going to Syracuse tomorrow night. So they could be back under 500, but I do think the team's playing pretty well overall.
Think they may have a problem with zone?
Yeah, Syracuse looks like they look pretty legit this year, so I think that's going to be a tough ask.
I agree, buddy. Good to talk to you. I'll talk to you later in the week.
See you, Jeff.
All right, take care. That's Ira Chappelle, managing editor, Warchant.com, and I think Florida State. I'm being very careful today to not be giddy. Ordinarily it would be sort of a solemn situation as we're talking about a kid who was the rookie of the year in the ACC, and that you lose him, and he'd played in some big games and had some moments. To see a kid like that dismissed under these circumstances, oftentimes we would, I guess, be a little run down with all that's happened. But I'm in celebration mode. I think Florida State needed to move on, and I know Ira correctly noted. I've heard the same thing from players, that not everybody feels about DeAndre Francois the way that I do or that some others have expressed. I just know that there is division there. He is a polarizing player, and there were kids who really liked DeAndre and really felt like he was mischaracterized, and there are still others who think that he was the epitome of a selfish teammate.
if you want to take a step back from it and not inject what you feel or I feel, you could just say quite the career arc for DeAndre Francois here.
Bizarre, yeah.
Incredible highs, incredible lows. Think about that first night against Ole Miss. Hometown. I remember media day, couldn't get a question in edgewise because the guys down in Tampa kept asking DeAndre, what's it like to be starting like Jameis Winston did your redshirt freshman year and all the pressures of that game. And it's like, okay, guys, we get it. He's not going to be Jameis, though, so I hope you realize that. And then he goes down there the first half as a disaster, if not for him standing in, taking a couple of shots to the ribs, one of which was for a touchdown over the middle of the field.
Well, remember how excited we were. I mean, I'm not going to go through revisionist history. I remember being so impressed, saying that guy was within the scope of football on that night. Heroic. I mean, he took an ass beating and hung in there and made play after play after play. And you thought, okay, so he's got the goods. He's got the toughness, the requisite toughness to move forward. And
he's a natural runner. It's like a return. Yeah. Okay, so you're getting the best of both worlds because now you have the athletes that Jimbo recruits, but you might have some elements of his offense that we had when Christian Ponder was around, the early days of E.J. Manuel, too, because you've got a true dual-threat quarterback. But then it just never materialized that way. He had some big-time wins and some big-time gutsy moments, especially in that redshirt freshman year. But then the lows, they're incredibly low.
Well, James Blackman, who we think may have certainly at one point hinted at wanting to put his name into the transfer portal, never did. Tom, the requisite portal. Thank you, please.
Well, I mean, it didn't,
No, but just saying, any reference to it, it's out there. It's sitting there waiting to be heard from. Anyhow, so it didn't happen. He did not submit his name into the portal. There you go. But I would have guessed, I mean, you don't have to be immense to figure this out, that he was immensely frustrated by his situation, that DeAndre, who had proclaimed he had unfinished business and would be back, put a crimp in his plans, James Blackman, that is, and he wanted some assurances about the possibility, I'm sure, of getting equal reps and being a starter potentially for this team, if he earned it, of course. And now that's most assuredly true. He will get that opportunity, and I think he'll take it and run with it. I think the kind of throws that you're going to see him be required to make, he's well suited for in Kendall Brow's offense. So I wish him well. I like that kid. I want good things to happen to that kid. I think he is the perfect teammate from afar. I don't see him day to day and all of that, and I don't pretend to know him personally all that well. I've talked to him a couple times, but he's a guy that just bleeds garnet and gold. And he cares. He cares deeply. And he was the ultimate in terms of teammates being supportive of another. And he had every reason not to be with DeAndre, and yet he was always there supporting him and talking with him and rooting for him, actively rooting for him in games. And you'd see him, lend encouragement every time he came off the field. After I was sitting on the 50-yard line against Boston College, down right behind the bench, and DeAndre threw a horrible pick, obviously, early in that game. Actually, for much of that game, DeAndre was terrible. But anyhow, he came off the sideline, and it was James Blackman that was trying to pick him up, was telling him, hey, don't worry about it, and they were having a great interaction. So I always appreciate that. That's just who James Blackman is.
Yeah, he advances the discussion. He advances to the next thing, or he tries to elevate the people around him. It doesn't mean he's a Heisman contender.
No.
But look at what we're working with here, people. Like, I want that kid. I wanted that kid. I still do want that kid to be the starter here because I think of the options we have, if it's a mixture of talent and experience, he's the one that's going to he's going to rouse the fan base and rouse his teammates to give you the best that they got. I think he's the best candidate to do that. But still, I get it. It's not even E.J. Manuel. Like, this is a step down. We are playing with a different caliber of quarterback and player at most positions here at Florida State than we're accustomed to seeing. So I'm not trying to put this guy on a pedestal to where I think he's going to be all ACC first team. That's reserved for Trevor Lawrence. And the second team, I don't know, would be a nice accomplishment, maybe a pleasant surprise if James Blackman was able to achieve that height. But, I mean, with what we're working with, you need a healer, somebody who's going to heal.
A healer. Yeah, and he is that.
He seems to be the type to mend fences, man.
Well, I think he's a galvanizing force. I agree with you there.
He scrapes the paint.
I think he's a guy that a lot of people get excited about. And I'm also really excited just because people who cover this are really excited. I have not seen him. I've not been to a camp, but a lot of people feel really good about Jeff Sims, the 2020 quarterback that committed to Florida State. People think he's the real deal and a true talent. So I even had one guy say, don't look at the rankings. Don't look at the rankings. Don't worry about any of that. I'm telling you, this kid is for real. Can spin it, can really play, is a great athlete. And so, you know, you have more than one of these guys whose job it is to travel around and watch these kids in camps and all of that and observe what these recruits are and rank them, say to you, hey, this kid's the real deal. And we're talking about kids that don't even, people that don't even necessarily know each other. Saying that's important. That's important. It's good to hear. So Florida State's getting good news.
Meanwhile, let James scrape the paint. You know, you ever do like the painting for the houses and those projects for the different ministries and organizations? Like that's always the worst job, is the person who has to do that.
Scraping the paint?
Right. But then the guy who gets, or the gal who gets to paint the house, that's the fun job. So let James scrape the paint for us and let this Sims guy paint it.
You like painting, do you? You like painting houses?
That's one of my favorite outreach things. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So outreach things. I thought you just meant activities
No, I meant
in
like
general.
like service hours and
Yeah.
projects like that, community involvement stuff.
Yeah. I think painting
I
sucks.
hated scraping the scraping
I think
paint.
I think everything about painting sucks.
Really?
Hate it. Hate the scraping, hate the painting, hate all of it. Did it just like you did in many ways that you're describing. Loathe it. Can't stand it. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Day long and enjoy Tallahassee's finest Neapolitan-style pizza and the Deck's signature monkey bread. On special for $5 from the folks who brought you Metro Deli. The Deck Pizza Pub is now downtown Tallahassee's spot for pizza and craft brews and cocktails. We'll see you there on Saturday.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You could do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car. Yes, sir.
At Hardee's, we grew up. We stopped sleeping with our handmade nightlights and pacifiers. But there was one childhood classic we couldn't kick, the grilled cheese. So we made our grilled cheese grow up into a handsome bacon thick burger. Freshly toasted sourdough, melted Swiss, and American cheese with crispy applewood smoked bacon on 100% Black Angus beef. The grilled cheese bacon thick burger. Only available for a limited time because it's so grown up and it's very busy and has very little work-life balance.
Hardee's because it tastes better.
Available now for a limited time at participating Hardee's restaurants.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Do you have a son or daughter who has special needs age 14 or older? Register them today for Genesis Church's Night to Shine Prom, sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation at nighttoshinetally.com. The 5th annual community-wide event being hosted by Genesis Church at the center of Tallahassee on February 8th from 5 to 9 p.m. Every guest with special needs will be given the true VIP treatment, including a red carpet entrance, complete with limousine rides, paparazzi, hair and makeup done by Aveda and Cabellos, flowers, shoe shines, food, karaoke, and dancing. At the end of the night, all of our guests will be named kings and queens of the prom. Register your guest or volunteer today at nighttoshinetally.com. That's nighttoshinetally.com.
Napa know-how.
Right now, you can get a $20 prepaid Visa gift card by mail with the purchase of a Napa Legend Premium Battery. Its durability and power make it the obvious choice for people who hate getting stranded by a dead car battery. So pretty much everyone. The Napa Legend Premium Battery and $20 back. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care centers. Limit 2 per household while supplies last. Offer ends 2/28/19.
See. Very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Wackiest thing you've ever put on popcorn, because I'll start the bidding at hot sauce.
Yeah, I put hot sauce on it.
No. Listen to me. I love popcorn. My favorite snack by far. You don't mess that up by putting anything on it except salt. No butter, none of this other BS.
You don't butter your popcorn?
No butter.
No. And do not give me these cheese toppings and all of this garbage.
That doesn't make any sense.
Popcorn, no. Stop.
Exactly. That's a good one.
Salt. That's it.
Garlic salt.
Cheese. Garlic salt.
Truffle salt.
Not
ketchup.
garlic salt. Like just salt.
Oh, what type of popcorn, though?
Lost your mind.
Kettle corn?
It's too sweet.
Kettle corn is delicious.
No, kettle corn is precisely why it's good. You get the sweet and the salt.
Fiddle faddle.
Sweet and savory.
I love the movie theaters. I love the movie theaters.
You like Cracker Jack?
This discussion upsets me, okay? It does.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Mentioned before, the Patriots won the lowest scoring Super Bowl in history with their 13-3 victory, and wide receiver Julian Edelman taking home the MVP honors. Brady was, well, good when targeting the guys that he targets most. Brady went 8 of 8 targeting Edelman, by the way, within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. Brady went 3 of 3 for 52 yards targeting Gronk. And, the familiarity and the ability to find those guys when it mattered. Really the difference in the game offensively, which didn't feature a lot of offense. You knew eventually those guys would break through, and Edelman did. How about the talk after that game or even during that game about potentially Edelman going to the Hall of Fame? What in the world are we doing here?
They were doubling and tripling down on that.
What are you talking about? That's crazy.
Well, what they're doing is they're attaching him to the dynasty and then throwing out his receiving numbers, total receptions, and those numbers compared to Jerry Rice, which I think now, if it's receptions is the category, I believe, he's tied for second all time in terms of playoff output and production. So he's considered to be Mr. January, is their
when
argument.
You're on that team, you're going to...
He is...
he's a good player.
No. Do you think it
Don't...
was right to give him the MVP last night?
Oh, would you have gone defense?
I probably would have gone Edelman just because of how many third down conversions and third and longs he gets open for. So how quickly they got Talib off of him?
Oh,
like 2 or 3 plays.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, that ain't going to happen.
Talib ain't doing nothing there.
No. Peters actually played fairly well last night against his rep this year, which was awful.
Because he sucked this year.
Well,
yes, yeah.
I'm just trying to be kinder in my description, man.
No, he was awful all year long. So the fact that he wasn't a disaster last night, you're right. That was something of a surprise. The Patriots, again, we talked about adapting to the ways that you got to win football games, and they did, and it's annoying because they always seem to do that. But, Edelman, I understood why he was voted MVP, but if you hold a team to 3 points, and the reason that the Rams, for the vast majority of the season, and admittedly they were limping into the playoffs despite the record and all that they had accomplished offensively, pieces were missing. They weren't the same team once Kupp got hurt, and obviously, I don't care how many times he tells everybody he feels fine. Clearly, Todd Gurley didn't go from being the most important key to that offense of puzzle, prolific as he was through 13 games, to being obsolete because he felt fine. No, he's hurt.
Well, there was an interview with C.J. Anderson on NFL Network's postgame coverage last night. It was the locker room interview, and it was a one-on-one. And his answer on Todd Gurley was something to the effect of, he gave us all he could. And I mean, it wasn't that explicit, but you could hear it because the question to C.J. was, "Were you surprised by the split? You guys, you're splitting carries with Todd?" And he said, "No, honestly, the both of us, we root for each other whenever the other has a hot hand. We're not trying to get into the game, let him keep going. And Todd gave us about all he could. So there's a clue there, but it seems like nobody else wants to talk about it. I mean, wouldn't that be something that you'd rather volunteer at this point, now that you've been bounced in the playoffs and Todd wasn't really used last night?
I admire players who don't want to hide behind excuses. Usually this late in a season, the vast majority of both rosters are dinged and banged up to varying degrees. But when you go from being one of the most, if not the most explosive players in the league, dominating game in and game out, to being a non-factor, I think it's okay to admit that you've been hampered by an injury. It wouldn't be excuse-making. It's not something no, listen, it's after the game. I get not doing it before the game. You don't want to give away that you're not 100%. I understand that. But after the game, I would think, hey, look, I need to have off-season surgery. It's a shame. We had such a great year. I hate that I couldn't give these guys any more. But I need surgery, and there's nothing you can do.
Even still, it could be something for the coach to say. So it's not the player making an excuse for himself. It's an opportunity for the coach to champion a player and rally behind him when he needs it most. But, I mean, Todd did look better in this game than he did a couple of weeks ago. There were a couple of runs
the run that got called back due to the hold on the center, which wasn't a hold at all.
No, that's a phantom.
There's too many phantom holds in these games, by the way. That one on the Chiefs, it was the Chiefs in the game New England and Kansas City had, where on that pull to the left side, they end up calling a hold there, and there's nothing. There's nothing. That happens a lot. You better know there's damn well holding before you throw that flag, because as the proverbial saying goes, they could call it on every play.
Maybe the MVP should be McCourty for tracking down in the back of the end zone a wide-open touchdown.
Coming off of his man, he realized that it was a busted coverage and went back and helped out a teammate.
So he said on the desk, see, I watched all the postgame. I find that to be more interesting because guys at the NFL level will tell you more, and they're more educated too in the game of football.
Oh, about the game, yeah.
So they're able to tell you some things, and the season's over. So what do they care? They'll give you the good stuff, the good stories. And he said that happened. They ran the same play earlier in the game. Guy was open. They didn't throw it to him, and he said, "It's not my responsibility. It's a good scheme. So if that happens again, I'm just going to have to leave my guy and bust it towards the receiver."
And he did.
And he got there in just the nick of time. I mean, the ball's late, of course. That doesn't help. But maybe that's the MVP play because LA goes up in that moment. They take the lead, right? So who knows?
Yeah. I mean, you could it's funny going back and looking at Super Bowl history. There have been times where there were dual MVPs and things of that ilk where you have a vote that's a tie. Collectively, I've always thought you could just, and as opposed to singling out a man, just say, look, man, you held the Rams to 3 points. The defense wins. The defense gets the MVP.
There's just so many candidates there. Van Noy, Hightower had a couple of big splash plays. Chung obviously left the game early, but his replacement, I forget the guy's name, but he's the one on that throw to Cooks.
Yeah.
And he gets that contact in there, and that's what springs the ball loose, or else that's a touchdown down the sideline, and we've got ourselves a tie football game.
It's interesting about the Rams' defensive effort because while it's fair to point out they played a very good game, and as evidenced by the total of 13 points, New England didn't exactly light them up, but there were 407 yards amassed by New England. It's just that they scored the one touchdown on the Sonny Michel run, but I mean, they moved the ball. They had some opportunities there. I thought where the Rams were exceptional was on third down. They just continued to make big plays in those crucial moments. Brady said as much afterwards as well. New England was just a better team throughout, though. One thing that you can say that even when it's 3-0 or 3-3, you're going, okay, it's hard to tell who's getting the better of this. It's a defensive game, no doubt. Both sides are dominating there. I thought New England always looked like they were on the precipice of putting together a drive. I never felt like the Rams were going to put together a drive.
No, it would have had to be a short field, right?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like in the game, like a strip sack. There was one, but the ball went back to the Patriots because, fumble luck goes their way, always has. And then there's also a play, and Baldinger put this out on his Twitter feed today as he does his typical all-22 stuff. There's a deflection at the linebacker level that's in Peter's hands, and he's probably going to score or bring it down to inside the 20-yard line. But that's just the way it goes, man. That's the NFL.
So frustrating. I was mentioning those numbers. I double-checked it here. I wanted to see if my numbers were right. Yeah, they only converted 25% of their third down opportunities, New England did. So it seemed like they moved the ball, but then the Rams made big plays. But I will say this. On the drive that you have to have, and this is why no matter what we do when we get into these arguments about the greatest of all time and so forth, invariably, there's a moment in time where he's got to do what he's done so many times before and then does. Brady went 4 of 4 for 60 yards on that touchdown drive and, again, made each throw spot on perfect when he had to in that drive.
So I'll give credit here to Ira Kaufman down working at JoeBucksFan.com, formerly of the Trib. How prepared were the Patriots during their postseason run? In the combined first halves against the Chargers, Chiefs, and Rams, New England owned a 52-11 advantage in first downs and a 787-217 advantage in total yards. So when scouting matters, 52-11 in first downs in the first halves in the playoffs.
It's an absurd number. Well, add up all the yardage, all the points, all the first downs in the first half of every one of those games, and you see complete domination across the board.
3 games, you're giving up 72 yards on average in the first half to those opponents.
The Rams, 62 yards on 18 carries, 3.4 yard.
I mean, the Chargers were lighting up. They were the underdog story, or like the, what would it be? Like the sidebar story for the NFL regular season. Everybody's paying attention to the Chiefs and the Rams. But then here are the Chargers. They got 3 losses into December, and Phillip Rivers looks great, and that offense looks high-powered, and the Patriots mowed down all 3 of them. Like nothing. Like it was nothing.
It's never going to end. On the one hand, we're a part of history. We got to see the greatest dynastic run in the history of the sport, arguably the greatest coach and quarterback of all time, and yet I don't feel good about that. I'm not happy about that. I'm ready to move on. We're all collectively ready to move on.
It's like Triple H keeps winning the belt
come on,
for
guys.
15 years.
It's like the end of the Jordan era. I admired him. I thought he was incredible. I was glad I got to see it. But when the Bulls won another one, I went again with the Bulls. We're getting close to Golden State where you're like, okay, all right, that's great. You're special. Let's move it along.
Will Tom Brady pass Michael Jordan? And then it's the race for Ric Flair. Will he pass Ric Flair? 17-time champion.
No, he will not pass Ric Flair.
Take my fist.
Here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Mount Rushmore of baseball. I'm going with Ruth, Cobb, Aaron, and Mantle. Football, I've got Bradshaw, Peyton, Montana, and Brady. In basketball, Jabbar, Jordan, Bird, and LeBron. This debate could go on, but when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of personal injury law in Tallahassee, the choice is clear. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm, so avoid the underdog and go with the favorite. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey.
Guys, are you tired of being tired? Frustrated because it seems impossible to lose belly fat? If you're looking for a solution, listen to Dave.
Andro 400, I really love it. I've lost 50 pounds. I was a size 38 waist. I've gone down to a 32 waist. My mood has changed. I don't get stressed out. It gave me so much more energy. It feels like I'm 25. I'm so happy. I'm just a completely different man.
Andro 400 Max, an extra strength, all natural testosterone booster. The safe and affordable way to gain energy and lose stubborn belly fat. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Go to andro400.com or call 888-510-9336. That's 888-510-9336.
Live life. Head on. Take every shot. And when it comes to tax season, go for the win with Liberty Tax. Because while you do life, we do taxes. Bounce into a Liberty Tax by February 16th and we'll give you $50 cash for filing with us. Send in a friend and when they complete their return, we'll give you another $50. Stop by today or visit LibertyTax.com. Liberty Tax. You do life, we do taxes.
Located at 2210 North Monroe Street next to Chick-fil-A. Call 597-8248.
This is Golick and Wingo.
Let me ask you guys this question. If the Lakers pull this deal off before the trade deadline, remember how David Stern got involved in the New Orleans to L.A. trade for Chris Paul? Would there be anywhere the other teams around the league will be like, wait a minute. Anthony Davis left his agent for LeBron's agent. LeBron has already been chastised for saying he'd like to have Anthony Davis on his team. And now, all of a sudden, he's with LeBron's agent, and he says, I want to be traded. I'm not signing this deal. If he were to end up in L.A., do you believe there'd be a little bit of an uproar from some of the other teams saying, hold on, we feel there's some kind of control thing going on here?
I think there would be a certain outcry with that just because it is LeBron and he was so unapologetic in everything that went on.
Again, nothing provable, I would think, but man, there's going to be an uproar.
Golick and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, the accolades continue for Patriots coach Bill Belichick after he joined some exclusive company following the Patriots' 13-3 victory over the Rams in Super Bowl 53. Belichick matched George Halas and Curly Lambeau as the only coaches to win 6 NFL titles, an accomplishment lauded today by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
Coach has had incredible success and unprecedented success, and we're grateful to see him continue to bring football teams and bring them together in a way that I don't think any coach has ever done in the history of the game.
Between his time as an assistant coach and head coach, Belichick has coached in 12 Super Bowls, the most by any coach in NFL history. The Bengals are soon expected to finalize a deal to make Rams quarterback coach Zach Taylor their new head coach. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers told the NFL Network he should be able to fully take part in the Packers' offseason program because he was able to avoid surgery on his left knee. Rodgers would only reveal that the injury sustained in the regular season opener was a sprain. Eagles QB Carson Wentz refuted multiple details in a story published last month by the Philly Voice, but did not dismiss the story outright, acknowledged he could have been a better teammate as he navigated a difficult year professionally. Wentz was described in the story as egotistical, selfish, and uncompromising, which cited more than a half dozen players, all quoted anonymously. NBA league sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski Nets guard Karis LeVert returning to full 5-on-5 practices, and there is optimism he'll return to the lineup for the All-Star break. LeVert, out since mid-November with a dislocated right foot, has made steady progress and is expected to practice with the Nets G League team this week. Brooklyn currently holding on to 6th in the East. In the latest AP college basketball poll, Tennessee is the top-ranked team in the country for a third straight week. Duke is at number 2 and Virginia 3.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Feels like this happens every Super Bowl. A Georgia man is accused of collecting hundreds of thousands of dollars for promised tickets to the Super Bowl and appears to have gone missing. More than a dozen people who spoke with Gwinnett County Police, including the man's mother, said they gave money. The mother.
That's cold.
Dude, that is cold-blooded. For tickets to the Super Bowl, which will be, this article was written just before the Super Bowl, so was to be held that night. In total, alleged victims have told police that nearly $750,000 was made before Holmes took off. His mother gave him allegedly $36,000 last year to buy Super Bowl tickets with the promise that he would sell the tickets and give her the profits. What in the world? I had a signed contract. I thought that I had covered everything except for, hey, will this guy possibly abandon all of this and flee the country with our money? Quote, unquote. Another victim, John Mitchell, told police he purchased 10 tickets valued at $50,000. 10 tickets, $50,000. What?
Oh, they're great. They're actually hovering over the 50-yard line, and you can watch it like it's on the cable cam.
You're kind of part of the game at that point, right? What are you?
Great seats. We're actually going to put you in that 360 rotunda atop Mercedes-Benz Stadium. There's actually 7 seats available only, and these could be yours. Standing room only for 10, 50 grand.
John Michael Brunetti is the guy that got suckered out of $50,000 for 10 tickets. My man, what are you doing? So do you have the tickets on you when I give you the $50,000? Am I going to get? Yeah, no, I'll send them right over. Yeah, they're on their way. They're in the mail. What in the world?
I keep them locked up in my safe back at the office.
Oh, my God. The family of the man say they don't know where he is. He's got a wife and a daughter. They're like, we don't know. We don't know where that guy is. He just rode the hell out. They told police that Shaw, is the guy's last name, had previously disappeared, gone to Las Vegas, Nevada, and returned, and that his wife and daughter told police they suspected that he had taken the Super Bowl ticket money and gone back to Las Vegas again as part of, quote, unquote, a midlife crisis that he was dealing with. Other reports claim that the alleged victims from across the state of Georgia sent Shaw amounts including $20,000, $30,000, and $54,000. They say Shaw took out a $500,000 loan against his business, which he co-owns with his wife and daughter. This guy said, I'm going for broke. I am done. Talk about a midlife crisis. That's it. I'm leaving my wife. I'm leaving my daughter behind. I'm scamming these people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm taking out a loan against the business, and I'm off to Vegas, baby. We're going to let it ride. It's not that he posted some ad and random people are contacting this guy for tickets and being scammed. That, according to one of the police officers. He's known these people for many years. One of them he's known his whole life because it's, his mother. The investigator told ABC News that possible charges in the case may include theft by deception and more, depending on the investigation. It's going to take a few days to figure out what exactly went on here.
Well, I think theft by deception kind of fits the bill here.
I'm glad they have such a specific tag for that one. It's not just theft, it's theft by deception. Well, no, I would contend it's just theft. No, you certainly deceived these people.
Yeah, it would be kind of like betting on, I don't know, like a Louisville-Clemson game for, a certain amount and then...
and never paying.
That is kind of like thievery at that point.
Yeah. Circumstances were different. You don't have to bring that up, man. Still pisses me off.
That kind of fit the bill.
Still pisses me off.
What's the statute on that crime, Jeff?
I don't know what you're talking about, Tom. I don't know if there's money owed me by a certain individual that you may or may not have just described by name when you said fits the bill. Then,
That was unintentional.
I thought it was just well done. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
I had no idea, and with it getting even darker, I could use some outdoor lighting. It seems the City of Tallahassee's loan program may be the perfect solution.
Well, just be sure to invite me over the next time you grill.
Of course, that's what friends are for.
Take advantage of the City of Tallahassee's loan program and save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com to learn more. That's talgov.com for more information.
There ain't no heating and air conditioning, keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
You could
Now quickly and easily schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. This winter, take advantage of great rebates and 0% financing for 36 months. Learn more online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 057652.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
At Hardee's, we grew up. We stopped sleeping with our handmade nightlights and pacifiers, but there was one childhood classic we couldn't kick, the grilled cheese. So we made our grilled cheese grow up into a handsome bacon thick burger. Freshly toasted sourdough, melted Swiss, and American cheese with crispy applewood smoked bacon on 100% black Angus beef. The grilled cheese bacon thick burger. Only available for a limited time because it's so grown up and it's very busy and has very little work-life balance.
Hardee's because it tastes better.
Available now for a limited time at participating Hardee's restaurants.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Look around. That's right, you see Nissans everywhere. Tallahassee is officially a Nissan town, a Kraft Nissan town. Why? Because Kraft Nissan has the best pricing, the best selection, and the best buying experience in town. And at Kraft Nissan, you get the best value for your dollar. With more standard features, our exclusive and the original lifetime warranty, our easy choice menu that gives you a price and payment in writing, our new For You program that helps people with damaged credit. And now, to the end of the month, 2 years or 20,000 miles of complimentary maintenance with every new car purchase, plus $1,000 over book value for your trade. Best of all, my people are the best in the business. They will greet you with a smile and a handshake, and they will know your time is valuable. My managers are always accessible, and of course, you can always ask for me or my brother Peter. Bottom line, if you need a new or pre-owned car, you need to experience the Kraft difference. Great people, great product, great price, with the best car buying experience in town. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, guys. Trying to track down this foot situation, Tom, and I've got an appointment, and they're getting back to me. I'm like, I'm on the air. I can't talk to you right now.
You know, the hard part is it really only requires about a 2-minute segment.
No,
so
I know.
I was begging you to let me just give an updated NHL standings report for the people of Tallahassee for these 2 minutes while you could sort it out.
Well, why don't you go for it, buddy? Just an updated NHL standing. Hey, by the way, the Lightning won 1-0. Big Daddy J lost the wager. Not only didn't cover, we had to win 1-0 in a shootout. We got nothing.
There was only one goal that went into the net the entire night, and that was round 2 of the shootout.
That's ridiculous.
Victor Hedman scoring in the shootout.
What are we doing out there?
And we turn around, we do beat the Rangers on Saturday night 3-2.
Oh, of course.
We are the one and only team in the NHL with at least 80 points. We hit 8-0
this is
weekend.
just a formality. Now, it's time to get to the playoffs. This is just cruising.
Pretty much.
We're going to skate right past 98 points with the greatest of ease.
Well, we've got 30 games to go. We have 80 points.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's just, it's
you
insane.
go 500, you're hitting 110 points, which is like a killer season.
MyPillow.com 4-pack special going on right now. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code 979ESPN. Yes, sir. Get you a comfy MyPillow. 2 of them, in fact, plus a Go Anywhere pillow. 2 of those, in fact. Free shipping to boot, and the money-back guarantee now extends all the way through the end of March. Go to MyPillow.com. Just use my promo code 979ESPN.
You'd be sleeping like Ruslan Fedotenko after Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals in 2004
with
a MyPillow.
Well done. Promo code 979ESPN. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
97.9 ESPN Radio.
What's up, Eddie?
What's up, Jeff?
You know, buddy, that I like archaeology, right?
Yeah. I'm quite an anarchist myself.
Right. Well, anyhow, do you know what they find the world over when they excavate? You know the item they find the most of?
I don't know, rocks?
Freaking bowls.
Bowls?
Bowls everywhere. In Rome proper, right? Bowls upon bowls upon bowls.
That's very interesting.
What's the high school over in Jacksonville, the one with all the good football players?
Bowls?
Right.
What are you getting at here, Jeff?
Mo used what to cut his hair?
I don't know, Jeff. What is a bowl?
Boom. A bowl indeed.
Hey, that gives me an idea.
Really?
We should have bowls here at Gordo's. We can do all kinds of bowls. We can do chicken bowls, fish bowls. We can do steak bowls, pork bowls, veggie bowls. Brilliant. I'm a genius. Jeff? Hey, Jeff. At Hardee's, we grew up. We stopped sleeping with our handmade nightlights and pacifiers. But there was one childhood classic we couldn't kick, the grilled cheese. So we made our grilled cheese grow up into a handsome bacon thick burger. Freshly toasted sourdough, melted Swiss, and American cheese with crispy applewood smoked bacon on 100% Black Angus beef. The grilled cheese bacon thick burger. Only available for a limited time because it's so grown up and it's very busy and has very little work-life balance.
Hardee's because it tastes better.
Available now for a limited time at participating Hardee's restaurants.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Hi, this is David. Listen up. Deep South Kawasaki in Thomasville has excess 2019 side-by-side inventory, and it must go. Deep South Kawasaki is currently offering a 2019 Mule SX 4x4 for only $67.99. That's $700 less than the original MSRP of $74.99. Yes, that's right. Only $67.99 for 2019 Mule SX 4x4. Supplies are limited, so don't miss out. Deep South Kawasaki is located on US 19 South in Thomasville.
Hey, this is FAMU beat writer Rory Sherrock. Join me Friday at 6 p.m. for the Rattler Review. We're talking all things FAMU. Great interviews with players, coaches, and alumni. The Rattler Review, Fridays at 6 p.m. right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, the accolades continue for Patriots coach Bill Belichick after he joined some exclusive company following the Patriots' 13-3 victory over the Rams in Super Bowl 53. Belichick matched George Halas and Curly Lambeau as the only coaches to win 6 NFL titles, an accomplishment lauded today by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
Coach has had incredible success and unprecedented success, and we're grateful to see him continue to bring football teams and bring them together in a way that I don't think any coach has ever done in the history of the game.
Between his time as an assistant coach and head coach, Belichick has coached in 12 Super Bowls, the most by any coach in NFL history. The Bengals are soon expected to finalize a deal to make Rams quarterback coach Zach Taylor their new head coach. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers told the NFL Network he should be able to fully take part in the Packers' offseason program because he was able to avoid surgery on his left knee. Rodgers would only reveal that the injury sustained in the regular season opener was a sprain. Eagles QB Carson Wentz refuted multiple details in a story published last month by the Philly Voice, but did not dismiss the story outright, acknowledged he could have been a better teammate as he navigated a difficult year professionally. Wentz was described in the story as egotistical, selfish, and uncompromising, which cited more than a half dozen players, all quoted anonymously. NBA league sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski Nets guard Karis LeVert returning to full 5-on-5 practices, and there is optimism he'll return to the lineup for the All-Star break. LeVert, out since mid-November with a dislocated right foot, has made steady progress and is expected to practice with the Nets' G League team this week. Brooklyn currently holding on to 6th in the East. In the latest AP college basketball poll, Tennessee is the top-ranked team in the country for a third straight week. Duke is at number 2 and Virginia 3.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today, and a good day to you and yours. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but sometimes you do. I understand that. And if that's the case, all 3 hours get posted every day. Both iTunes and our own audio vault. You can email us if you like, jcs@979espnradio.com. Follow along on Twitter at JCameron Show. YouTubers, hello. Periscopers, hello. Man, let's go back through those Goff numbers, buddy. They do all those advanced stats after the game, and they had the worst completion percentage under duress in Super Bowl history. He and Kerry Collins now tied for that. Both went 3 of 12. Stan Humphries also sucked for the Chargers. I remember that very well. Old Stan Humphries, tough go. That was not a good matchup for the Chargers. It was a blowout. But then Goff was also 0 for 5 with an interception on passes thrown more than 20 yards downfield. That's tied all time for the most attempts without a completion on those passes in Super Bowl history. And
had a touchdown. You just got to get rid of the ball, man.
He threw 4 of those pass attempts to Brandon Cooks, and it didn't work out. He was pressured, admittedly, on 38% of his dropbacks yesterday, and he finished 3 of 12. So most quarterbacks aren't real good under pressure. He was exceptionally poor under pressure.
It was interesting. Tony Romo was lauding it as a good piece of strategy, and then he hated on it the next play, so I don't really know where he truly stood on the idea of waiting till 15 seconds left. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the second half.
Talking about
this is a great piece of strategy, so that way they can't talk to Bill Belichick, he can't communicate, and then they run a play, goes next play. I'd probably get the play a little quicker here, but honestly, I would have thought, and it looked to me like, and I know this is a trap that a lot of casual football fans fall into, but it looked to me like they were running tempo better than they were running at the snail's pace. They came out of what they are usually doing, and I get it was louder in there. I did not foresee, even though Los Angeles has a fickle fan base, I did not foresee it being that loud when the Rams were on the field. I thought it would be more like a neutral site game.
Yeah.
But everybody who was in attendance that night said it was basically a New England home game there. And the sound on the field was off the walls and off the ceiling, quite difficult to deal with for Goff and the Rams. I probably would have wanted to get to the line sooner so McVay can talk to Goff up to 15 seconds. And you can make adjustments yourself.
Well, you just credit Bill Belichick and his defensive staff, and they dominate this game. They're the MVP, really. I know Edelman had a great game and was big on third downs and certainly warranted attention. But you just, again, the Patriots seem to be able to win these games, playing them however you want to play them. If you want to play a high-scoring game, last year they played in a Super Bowl that had the most yardage in the history of the Super Bowl. I know they lost that game, but they were I think, up to the task. I think Brady threw for 500 yards in that game against the Eagles. So, I mean, they were able to play it that way. And now this year it's the lowest scoring game in Super Bowl history, and against a team that really lit up the scoreboard throughout the course of the season. Again, I think it was evident that the Rams had become a different team by the season's end, primarily because they were missing 2 key components that they had through the first 10 to 15 games, 10 to 13 games. And Gurley was just never the same after that knee injury. You could tell he was kind of a shell of himself and not ready to be able to carry the load. And then in addition to that, of course, Kupp lost earlier in the season. Their offense began to show signs of duress then. Patriots exploit that. They exploit Goff, and they win another Super Bowl. And so it is that we all sigh and say, goodness gracious. Certainly we acknowledge that this is as dominant a dynasty as you'll ever see in a salary cap league, that's for sure. I mean, that's one thing to note is in a salary cap league, you are not supposed to be able to do this. So whether you think they've been lucky, whether you think it's the byproduct of all-time great quarterback or an all-time great coach or both, the thing is, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter in a salary cap league. Eventually, either injuries, age, free agency catch up to you because players rule the day. And eventually you'll lose enough guys that you ought not be able to keep on keeping on, as they say. We've watched all of these teams who rise up, have a nice run, win a playoff game or two, maybe even a Super Bowl, maybe even get back to a Super Bowl twice in 4 years or something. Eventually, the problems that really, I think, attach themselves to any league with a salary cap catch up to you, but not the Patriots. Not the Patriots at all.
Well, you cited the number last week. It's 450-plus players for the Patriots over there.
It's insane.
The 5 Super Bowls at the time that had won a Super Bowl, and you can add more to the list, obviously, this time around. I think what really hurts today for the Rams is if you're a player on that defense, you played well enough to win most every Super Bowl. It's kind of like the opposite of Phil Mickelson when he faced Henrik Stenson in the 2-day duel he had years ago, where Phil would have won all but 8 Open championships across the history of the Open Championship, which spans over 100 years.
It's insane, yeah.
Right. And in this instance, you hold the New England Patriots and the legend that is Tom Brady to 13 points in a Super Bowl game.
And lose by 10.
And you lose by 10.
Yeah, you're not
the largest margin of victory by the Patriots in any of their Super Bowl wins
in
their franchise history.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Got to hurt your feelings a little bit.
And if you're McVay, too, you're the offensive wonder boy. Well, Wade Phillips, who's considered, by a lot of people to not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, and he's a good coach, but, he's always outcoached by the best. No, he turned in a winning game plan, and you, sir, don't look like you're buttoned up.
Yeah, it's tough for him because at his age and what he's already been able to accomplish, and he did, after all, get them to the Super Bowl and turn Goff into a quarterback of merit, at least, upon taking over the franchise. He's obviously upgraded what the Rams are as opposed to, say, Fisher. But, yes, to score 3 points in the Super Bowl and you're an offensive mind is going to sting.
If everybody in the world is going to find somebody who knew you in 5th grade and hire them as their head coach, then you should acquit yourself a little bit better than he did yesterday.
All right, so the record's broken in that Super Bowl. If you must know, fewest combined points in a Super Bowl, 16. Fewest points scored by a Super Bowl winner, 13. Tied for fewest points scored by a Super Bowl loser, 3. Oldest quarterback to win a Super Bowl, Tom Brady, 41. Tom Brady tied for most championships by a player in NFL history with 6. Tom Brady, most Super Bowl wins by a player in NFL history with 6. Bill Belichick, oldest head coach to win a Super Bowl, 66 years of age. Bill Belichick tied for the most NFL championships by a coach in NFL history with 6. Patriots, most postseason wins by a team in NFL history, now with 37. And the Patriots tied for the most Super Bowl wins by a team in NFL history with 6. Of course, the Steelers also have 6. And there you go. Those are the records that fell and or were tied. And I don't know, you're going to get them next year. They'll have an average-ass regular season. They'll look like, 11-5. They'll be a pretty good team, not a great team. And we'll all, I think, finally say, I'm not going to count them out because there'll be this other thing when the playoffs start. That's what they'll do.
Man, it's until that division can at least, rack up a couple of 10-game winners in a span of 2 or 3. They don't even have to be the same team. Like if the Jets and the Dolphins,
rise up. Somebody give them a war.
You don't have to win the division, but you got to also make the playoffs. If you can do that a little bit consistently, maybe we have a chance here at unseating these guys. But I don't know. Would it shock you if Brady was playing in the Super Bowl 3 years from now?
3 years from now at 44? Yes.
I'll bet if somebody asked that question when he was 38, 3 years from now, 41? Yes, I'll bet you that would be the answer.
I don't disagree that people would be surprised. Yes, and I think that would have been the answer. But I got to tell you, man,
he doesn't get breathed on.
He's the oldest player in the history of the sport to win a Super Bowl now. 3 years from now, you're going to tell me he's still out there?
It wouldn't stun me.
No, and we're bitter that way right now. I understand that, but I mean, come on. At some point, the age factor does have to weigh in. Speaking of which, the age factor not affecting somebody, Usain Bolt running a 4.2240 in sneakers and sweatpants. I don't care how much they give; they're still restrictive. Did you see that?
No.
He did the NFL experience. He lined up and ran. He's 32 years old. He was wearing sneakers. They had him do it. He ran a 4.22.
So basically street clothes.
Yeah.
So if he went and got the NFL Combine gear on, who knows? Maybe he runs like a 4.18.
Probably, right? I mean, you'd have to assume.
That's ridiculous.
Well, it was ridiculous. I cracked up laughing. I've seen it. You can find the video
The
footage.
Patriots are going to sign him for $500,000 and some billboards.
I'd want to see it.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to see that guy run a 9, just to go.
Listen, Corderell, come on in here. You're a great player. You got us off to a great start last night. We're going to bring in Bolt. So.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Just insane. Florida State wins a basketball game over the weekend at the TLC Double C, of course, where you don't just roll on in and expect to walk out with a victory. And during a sleepy nooner, both teams played that way in the second half, sleepy. But the Noles were the better team and thus walk away with victory. That's important now to get to 4-4, 500 in the ACC, winners of 3 straight. So we got off to that rough start after the heartbreak against Duke. You know, a lot of people talked about the subsequent losses against Boston College and Pitt, or Pitt and Boston College in that order. And, you know, hey, is this program going to bounce back or not? We did think the schedule kind of set up that you could still gather yourself, get a win over Miami. You know, find a way to, hey, listen, going on the road and beating them the way you did was a big deal. Obviously, the home win on Saturday to get you back to 500 is something that had to happen, I think, if you want to continue to be somewhat stress-free, because you have games coming up that certainly, as banged up as they are, I don't figure Florida State will be unscathed here over the next couple. I think if you can go 1-1, it's a big week, and that's what you hope.
Forrest feels as good as he has in a long, long time that was entering the game on Saturday. Doesn't mean he's going to be like in the NCAA tournament kind of form and health. And it did look like that bore out on the court. Is he 100%? No, but there was a little bit more explosiveness. Now, context matters. We had a bye week. I don't know if he can turn around and play like that on Tuesday with some moments where he can get around the basket and look like he has the burst that we're used to seeing from him. But that should be interesting to see tomorrow night when we play Syracuse at 8 o'clock up there. Is it 2 games in a row? Is he improving, or has he improved enough to a place where maybe he can make some plays that his instinct would want him to make? He made one of the greatest steals and feeds that I've seen in one motion on Saturday.
Yeah, behind the back and one motion to lead to the man dunk. Yeah,
that was like the highlight steal. That's what you should call it.
It was really cool, actually. Yeah, look, I would guess that we're going to shoot better than the 34% we shot in the second half on the road, but maybe not. I don't know. I think as long as you play the kind of defense that we played in the second half, you'll be in the basketball game. But certainly we don't feel all that great about this game against Syracuse tomorrow. You got to feel better about the Louisville game here, where the crowd will be hostile and you're welcoming the nation's number 1 recruit, if you will, and you have a chance to keep it around 500, keep it at 500.
At least we saw a lot of zone on Saturday. That's like the only silver lining to going through that pain, which was the second half against Tech, is at least with Syracuse coming up, you're preparing for it with another type of zone. So maybe we'll bring our shooting shoes tomorrow night.
Well, I would hope. And speaking of that defense, by the way, Georgia Tech was 17 of 60 from the field. That's 28%, and they were 3 of 21 from beyond the arc. So we have now, in addition to not necessarily shooting well ourselves, been able to hold our opponent down while that's going on, and that's a big deal. And we held Chris Likes, you remember that, 0 for 12 from the field. Alvarado, who I talked about last Friday going into the weekend as their guy, came in and did exactly the same thing. He was 0 of 10 before fouling out. So there's a whole bunch of get you some.
34 was their best player, the post player, Gaye. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I couldn't really hear it on the PA. But he was the one, if, obviously there's going to be a rematch in a couple weeks. Want to see how that develops, if we make any adjustments there. But he's got some moves in the post. He made Kabengele look bad, Kumaje look bad a couple of times. But the perimeter, if they're taking a shot from outside, you never felt in danger that something was going down.
And then the big story of the weekend, which I haven't addressed here to start the 5, but we have talked about throughout the show. So as I say, if you've missed anything, go back, get caught up, was the fact that DeAndre Francois has been dismissed from the football program. And, my opinion, which is what I'm paid to give, is that is a good thing. Florida State gets addition by subtraction in my mind. This is a kid that I think is too selfish for the position of quarterback. He's a kid that has revealed that on multiple opportunities. And I think Florida State should have already been in the mindset to move on. They hadn't yet. Now this incident, which stems from the previous domestic violence claim or investigation, whatever you want to call it to be, from that time. This is an Instagram footage in which DeAndre, and I'm paraphrasing, says that he will hit her in the face if she continues to throw things in his apartment. And that was enough for Willie Taggart to say, we don't need you around. We're moving on. She has since subsequently, I know, posted something to say, I shouldn't have done it, and I was angry and upset and all of that, and I wanted DeAndre. It doesn't really matter because what he said, what he is heard to say in that video is enough to warrant, I think.
Well, especially if you were given zero tolerance by the head coach last year this time.
Yeah. So, either way, that's a problem for those two to work out. I hate it. I never want to hear about domestic violence in any way or certainly have any of our players be part of that in any way, shape, or form. But solely sticking to the football, which is something we know, right? And I don't know what happened with that incident. That'll be for the police to decide. But what I do know is that Florida State now is able to move on with a fresh start. And I think, you and I have talked a lot about James Blackman and what he brings to the table. Is he elite? No. Florida State has had a real hard time finding elite quarterbacks and developing them. It has been kind of a nightmare post-Jameis Winston. I would point you to Ira Chaffell's article on Warchant.com. He does a good job of documenting all of those guys. We all know who they are and the various reasons they did or did not work out or didn't play or were dismissed or left the program. You're still not at a great place right now, but I think you're in a healthier place in the locker room with the dismissal of DeAndre Francois. I know James Blackman is well-received, well-liked, well-thought of, and is going to give you everything he's got because he is proud and then some to be a Knoll. And that part you won't have to worry about, work ethic, any of that stuff. Leadership in the locker room and on the field, I think he'll provide that for you. Are there question marks about his overriding ability? Is he elite? No. But can he be good enough? I certainly think he can be good enough in this offense, and we'll soon find out as he is now the prohibitive favorite to lead the way. Of course, Jordan Travis is transferring in, Devin Travis's brother from Louisville. And so he'll be here. How quickly he's able to play, we don't know, but he'll be here in the spring, certainly to help hold down the depth chart there and take reps and be a part of that. Signing day is coming up on Wednesday. You may be able to add to that depth, as we talked about before. I know our focus has been really on the Ira Henrys of the world and Kamara Bell and others. But in truth, you may have a quarterback signing there.
May get two.
Yeah, Lance Lejeune. Most people think he's going to pick FSU, and it's just a matter of whether or not he's qualified. The Plumlee kid, we'll see if he says yes to Florida State. And you're still in a position to maybe take on a grad transfer. There's rumors out there that perhaps Florida State is in a discussion of sorts with Josh Jackson, the Virginia Tech quarterback who is transferring. As to when he could be here, obviously I think that would not be in the spring. I think that'd be in the fall.
Well, what is not a rumor is that Kendall Briles followed him yesterday.
Right. So it's all's not lost here. And again, my 2 cents on this is that Florida State needed to move on from DeAndre Francois a while ago. I certainly didn't think he'd be here in the fall. I could not have foreseen this set of circumstances. I don't think he was a legitimate option at quarterback. We'll never know. He was supposed to be a grad transfer. I think it was agreed upon and understood. Then he didn't graduate, so he couldn't be a grad transfer because he wasn't graduated. So he announced to the world that he'd be back because he had unfinished business, which is a way of saving face. I don't think he really wanted to do that, my opinion. That said, now he won't have that opportunity. Certainly he'll have the opportunity to graduate, and I hope he does. But for Florida State, it's a chance to move on. Clean slate, and I think you remove one more element of a locker room that was divided, that was in many ways there was a corrosive element. I think this is something that we've talked about ad nauseum. Willie talks about changing the culture. I think this helps change the culture. I think that's where we're at.
That's a pretty good sum job. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with all the recruiting.
We had a good weekend. 4-star linebacker said yes. Got a quarterback commit too. For the 2020 class, things are looking up, buddy. You hang in there. All of you. It's the collective you. All of you. Hang in. It's going to be okay.
I think we're feeling better today.
I think everybody feels a little bit better today. I agree with that.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
$11,000 off MSRP. It's the deal of the year. There's only one place to go. Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Or visit us on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. Dealer retains all rebates and incentives plus tax, tag, and dealer fee.
With the Bloomberg Business of Sports Report, I'm Michael Barr. Spending on players by English Premier League soccer teams slumped in January for the first time since 2012 as the top clubs cemented their dominance of the competition and income from broadcasting leveled off. The 20 clubs spent £180 million to $235 million acquiring new players during an annual transfer window, down from £430 million in January of 2018. It's according to data from Deloitte LLP's Sports Business Group. Major League Baseball has teamed up with the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board to make an offer to buy all of the local TV sports networks being sold by Walt Disney, with the exception of the Yes Network. The New York Post reports it's unclear how much the league and the Canadian pension want to pay. And that is a Bloomberg Business of Sports Report. I'm Michael Barr, brought to you by Grainger. For safety and industrial supplies, Grainger's got your back. Visit Grainger.com.
I used to have a sweet tooth. Had it removed when I was a kid. So what do I crave instead of chocolate? A big red box from Grainger. Grainger satisfies my craving for great customer service with 24/7 support, effortless ordering, and same-day pickup or next-day delivery options. No busy signals, no cavities. I love Grainger. You know why? Because when it comes to reliable product and technical support, Grainger's got your back. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Imagining a better bank starts with looking at the savings rates most banks offer and saying, really? Capital One is building something better. You can open a Capital One savings account with one of the nation's best savings rates from anywhere. Or here.
Or here!
One of the nation's best savings rates. Opened online, at a Capital One location, or from anywhere. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One N.A. member FDIC. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Dust off your cleats. It's time again to hit the field. The registration deadline for the City of Tallahassee Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Affairs Department's Spring Adult and Youth Sports Leagues is quickly approaching. Youth 4 to 18 can participate in softball and baseball, and adults 18 years of age and older can sign up a team to participate in softball and flag football. Spots are limited, so be sure to sign up before February 6th to guarantee your spot and to avoid penalties. Visit talgov.com today to see how you or your child can join in on the fun.
Everybody knows that the holiday season is also known as engagement season. Now that the season's over, it's time for some planning. Social Catering has several options for your wedding event and catering needs. They're Tallahassee's largest catering company, and they manage event spaces at venues like Madison Social, Township, and The Gathering. They can plan all of your wedding events, engagement parties, bridal brunches, rehearsals, even wedding receptions. No new rock on the finger? Hey, doesn't matter. Whatever the event, they've got you covered. For more details, email Matt at MadisonSocial.com. Again, that's Matt at MadisonSocial.com.
Time for another deck party. This Saturday, the Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee is hosting a Sports Monster pregame party and walkover ahead of the big basketball game at the Civic Center. The Noles will take the court at 4 p.m., so make the Deck your pregame headquarters. Doors open at 11 a.m., happy hour specials go all day long, and enjoy Tallahassee's finest Neapolitan-style pizza and the Deck signature monkey bread. On special for $5 from the folks who brought you Metro Deli. The Deck Pizza Pub is now downtown Tallahassee's spot for pizza and craft brews and cocktails. We'll see you there on Saturday.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Dan asks, if we'd gone 9-3 last season and the same circumstance with Francois happened, do you think he still would have been dismissed, or might there have been a different punishment? It was a tough schedule last year. I don't know. They got 9-3. That might have been a hell of an accomplishment. Well, no, I think given the words heard in the video, which is a threat to hit the girl in the face, I don't think you would have had an option, regardless of record or success or anything else. I think you would have had to have moved on there. And I don't know that there would have been any other way to look at that. It's a no-tolerance policy for something like that, so you'd move on.
I understand this sounds sinister, but I'd like to find out what Willie has in him for a situation like that, because that means we're winning. So I don't know. We're not in that situation. We're not in that moment where he's going to have to make a call evaluating winning over what he wants to define his culture as.
Well, listen, we can have criticism about Willie Taggart's first year and the mistakes that were made, some things certainly on the field that drove us all nuts, and the disorganization that we've all pointed to at various points. By all outward appearances, and I certainly don't have any reason to believe otherwise, Willie Taggart is a family man, married, kids, the whole deal. I doubt very seriously that he would, under any set of circumstances, 13-0, 0-13, or anything in between, tolerate a threat of violence to punching a woman in the face. Yeah, I don't think he could.
When you set it up that way, of course, it sounds so self-evident, but it's a funny thing.
I understand winning makes guys make strange decisions.
We saw a lot of strange decisions this year. They never came up in connection with something like this that happened over the weekend. But in terms of what we expected we were going to see with zero tolerance and cleaning up the culture and making sure that guys are all one voice, one vision, one goal, and then certain players are rolled out after he called them out for quitting. That did happen. He called players out for quitting in an instance and backed off of it.
Not the same thing at all, though. I agree with you. I mean, there's inconsistency in other football-related decisions, but we're talking about domestic violence. I think it's just there's just really nothing to discuss. I think that should be any program, anywhere, with any coach, and I think by and large, most any coach would understand that and move forward.
Do you think if there was no blowback, they would have brought back Josh Ball? Because they did float that out there.
I don't know. And I never knew.
That felt like a leak to see how it was going to go.
I never knew what the truth was with that story. I heard so many conflicting reports on that, and it never came to pass, thankfully, and he's not back, and we don't know what was real and what wasn't.
If it was a trial balloon, that tells me that it's not always about just doing the right thing. But I can't know for a fact that it was a trial balloon. It very much felt that way, the way the I
understand why, but who did it come from? And I just, again, there were a lot of factors to that situation. And all I know is, thankfully, more rational brains took over there. That could have never happened. And I don't. It's not that I because I don't want to believe it, I refuse to accept that there's a possibility that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just saying that it would be, and you're not doing this either, but it would be irresponsible of us to
I agree. I would say, though, at least from the evidence that we have before us, right, the Josh Ball situation is worse, objectively speaking, than the DeAndre situation as it relates to domestic violence. And the consistency of one
just
side.
And also the confirmation of the incidents and what was done physically. Sure. I'm just glad neither will be back, and we're moving on down the road, buddy. And I think we're all better off for it. And I think Florida State took a step forward in getting better. It's not going to happen overnight the way we wanted. And one of the ways that will be tested is what happens on Wednesday. Where are we at in terms of these linemen? Who are you getting in here? Not just who are you signing that are underclassmen, but do you get the kid from Virginia, the grad transfers that you're looking at, the JUCOs that you're looking at? What do you do to bolster that offensive line? MyPillow.com, 4-pack special. You know it, I know it. It's out there for you right now. It's free shipping if you act right now. Use my promo code 979ESPN. Money back guarantee extended all the way through March. You can wash these pillows, dry these pillows. They do not lose their shape. You fall asleep faster when you sleep on them. You snore less. Healthier way to go about your business at night, that is to say sleeping. MyPillow.com, promo code 979ESPN.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Now, wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You could do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car. Yes, sir.
What's up, Eddie?
What's up, Jeff?
You know, buddy, that I like archaeology, right?
Yeah. I'm quite an anarchist myself.
Right. Well, anyhow, do you know what they find the world over when they excavate? You know the item they find the most of?
I don't know, rocks?
Freaking bowls.
Bowls?
Bowls everywhere. In Rome proper, right? Bowls upon bowls upon bowls.
That's very interesting.
What's the high school over in Jacksonville, the one with all the good football players?
Bowls?
Right.
What are you getting at here, Jeff?
Mo used what to cut his hair?
I don't know, Jeff. What is a bowl?
Boom. A bowl indeed.
Hey, that gives me an idea.
Really?
We should have bowls here at Gordo's. We can do all kinds of bowls. We can do chicken bowls, fish bowls. We can do steak bowls, pork bowls, veggie bowls. Brilliant. I'm a genius. Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
Guys, are you tired of being tired? Frustrated because it seems impossible to lose belly fat? If you're looking for a solution, listen to Dave.
Andro 400, I really love it. I've lost 50 pounds. I was a size 38 waist. I've gone down to a 32 waist. My mood has changed. I don't get stressed out. It gave me so much more energy. It feels like I'm 25. I'm so happy. I'm just a completely different man.
Andro 400 Max, an extra strength, all-natural testosterone booster. The safe and affordable way to gain energy and lose stubborn belly fat. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Go to andro400.com or call 888-510-9336. That's 888-510-9336.
Everybody knows that the holiday season is also known as engagement season. Now that the season's over, it's time for some planning. Social Catering has several options for your wedding event and catering needs. They're Tallahassee's largest catering company, and they manage event spaces at venues like Madison Social, Township, and The Gathering. They can plan all of your wedding events, engagement parties, bridal brunches, rehearsals, even wedding receptions. No new rock on the finger? Hey, doesn't matter. Whatever the event, they've got you covered. For more details, email matt@madisonsocial.com. Again, that's matt@madisonsocial.com.
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Napa know-how.
Right now, you can get a $20 prepaid Visa gift card by mail with the purchase of a Napa Legend Premium battery. Its durability and power make it the obvious choice for people who hate getting stranded by a dead car battery. So pretty much everyone. The Napa Legend Premium battery and $20 back. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care centers. Limit 2 per household while supplies last. Offer ends 2/28/19.
College basketball is in full swing, and so is the fun and games at Pockets Pool and Pub. Follow your favorite team throughout the season on any of their 25 TVs. Enjoy game day drink specials featuring domestic pitchers for $9. Pockets has a full bar and locally brewed craft beers, the biggest wings in town, and a brand new menu. If you're looking for something different, visit Sharky's Lounge, the new non-smoking lounge next to Pockets. Pockets Pool and Pub, full bar, lots of TVs, and more. 2810 Share Road, or call them at 385-7665.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You know what today is, buddy? As we wrap it up, today is the first of many days that I race out of here and hop into the luxury of the Infiniti QX80 and race over to my son's baseball practice. First one of the new season. We'll see.
When did the last season wrap up?
Well,
November?
He played fall ball.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. No, he played fall ball. But this is the start of the real season, the spring season, you know. And
yeah, we ran a PSA for the city to that end.
Yeah.
About signups.
So it's exciting, you know. It's always we went out yesterday. I took him out, and we did our hitting and our fielding, the whole deal. Now I got to ratchet up a little bit. Now you're 11. It's time to ball.
Loosen up your arm because you're going to be throwing a lot in the front yard.
He's it's funny to see weight shift, man. It's cool to watch a kid start to figure out his body. Like, okay, I know now what you're talking about. He was all arms, you know. He was just like slapping at it. I'm like, you get no power on that, man. You're gonna have to square that up perfectly just to get anything on it, but not if you shift your weight. So yesterday Dad's got to be careful when he's pitching. I got a few rockets right back in my face.
Well, you have to buy the net.
Well, at some point I will. I can get glove up now. He's not hitting it that hard, but I'm always saying try to drive the ball back from whence it came, and I want you to hit me in the face. Try to hit me in the face. And you had a few that were right back at me.
Well, yeah.
Quick hands Cameron was fine.
Okay, but your hands are slowing down and he's getting bigger, so you're going to have to think about making an investment in one of those screens because Clark's right behind him.
Yeah. No, Clark's it'll be fun. He's begging us every day, man. I want to tackle. I want to hit somebody. I want to wear pads. I want to play football all year round. Good Lord, son. You're 8.
Would you let him wrestle?
Yeah, sure.
Or do youth boxing or something like that?
Well, no, I'm not let an 8-year-old box. No, but I would.
Well, not immediately.
No. There would be no boxing.
Well, you boxed when you were a kid.
I did. No boxing for the Camerons. No, it's before we knew all that we know.
Okay, so you are willing to definitively rule out boxing.
Not going to happen.
But football, it's not as okay.
Depends on the age.
This is interesting. So the combat sport, no, but football is not quite a combat sport in your brain right now.
No, well, it isn't. First of all, it's not repeated shots to the head the way that a sport like boxing is. I mean,
he could be playing O-line.
No, he won't be playing O-line. He's not big enough. He will never be big enough. I mean, I doubt he's going to be 6'5", 300 pounds.
Well, high school. Yeah, could be like 6'1", 240 and still, be a guard or something.
You can be really good, too. Yeah, he's an athletic kid. If he's going to play, I'm going to tell him, no, we're not doing the line. I think, truthfully, while we're having the discussion, because it comes up a lot, and I think it happens for anybody that ever played and loved the game and still, in our case, talks about it all the time, you wrestle with when's the right time. If there's ever a right time, I suppose. But one of the things I would tell you is that there's a lot of research being done on that, and the more it's interesting, there are a lot of coaches who, of course, played all through Pee-wee football and what I played in, which was called junior midgets at the time. They've probably renamed it, Tom. But anyhow, that's what it was called, and you signed up for it, and they didn't know. Nobody knew that football was potentially bad for your brain. And so now you hear coaches say, well, I won't let my own son play tackle football until he's a freshman in high school or a junior in high school. I mean, there are kids who didn't start playing big-time football, real football, organized football until they were juniors and seniors. And so, and I'm lucky and fortunate to know some neuroscientists, and you got to ask them, what's the research show? What do we know? Right now, the big research has been that the male brain, and this does speak to our immaturity, and it makes sense. We do a lot of destructive things to ourselves as men, and they know now that the male brain is still developing until the age of 25. Females develop a lot faster. They're much more mature than men. We knew that just from anecdotal evidence, but now it's scientifically proven. And so I don't know, if you're telling me that a child's brain is still developing into adulthood, on into his mid-20s, it certainly accounts for crazy rash decisions and destructive behavior, but it also would speak to perhaps not letting him play football. So I don't know, man. I'm torn on that because I love the lessons of football. I really do. I played everything as a kid, and I think you're hard-pressed to find a sport, maybe hockey. I didn't play hockey, but to find a sport that instills the sort of life lessons and values and toughness and all that stuff that will serve you well moving forward in your everyday life.
I mean, hockey teaches you some lessons, but the team aspect I don't think is the same as football, even having not played football.
Yeah.
Because there's 11 of you on the field at the same time. In hockey, I mean, you're broken up into segments, 2 defensemen, 3 forwards, and it's just, there's line changes, and it's not quite the same. Like, there's camaraderie, don't get me wrong, and there's toughness involved in the game, don't get me wrong. But I think the best thing that hockey does is it teaches you to slow your brain down. That's why I loved hockey. Yeah. Puck's coming to your stick. Now you've got to make some calculations. So you're doing mini calculations in your head, vectors and all that kind of stuff.
You got to do it without panicking, yeah.
Without panicking, and then you got to make the correct choice more often than not. It's a very logical game, which is why hockey is fun.
I'm curious about this because it's true in basketball, I think. Somewhat true maybe in an individual sport like tennis. But I would think the best players in hockey, the ones that are transcendent or preternatural players, are the ones who do that without ever thinking about it. They see the floor, in this case, they see the ice in a certain way, and they don't know why. They just do. They do studies on that with point guards now, and there are certain tests that you give them as to how they see the floor. They're doing the math, but they don't know they are. They don't know.
Yeah.
They have no idea why they made certain decisions. They just did.
No, it's not the same as sitting in an Algebra 2 or Trig class, no. But, I mean, you are doing the work. It's a real-life application.
Without question. I'm not questioning that. What I'm saying is the best players probably don't realize they're doing the work. Mm-hmm. I would think that just happens.
But it can be taught. I'm an example of that. I grew up more, book smart than I did sports smart.
Right.
And what sucks is by the time I get into my late teens, early 20s, I'm like, oh. I step back on. I go play pickup with my friends. I go home. They go, "Why are you an athlete now?" I'm like,
yeah,
oh, I don't know. It's just something didn't click. I was a fish out of water. But hockey, I learned very quickly. My first year to my second year, it can be taught because there's more solutions than meet the eye.
Well, I would think just where you are on the ice gives the answer to most of them. So, for example, where you receive the puck. Mm-hmm. You are immediately eliminating any number of other choices. You have a certain amount of choices based on you're in this quadrant.
Well, and it depends. Are you skating? Because you always think about it and you're thinking you're still.
Right. No.
You're usually skating in a direction.
Right.
But like the idea in the beginning, I think for a lot of players in that sport is you just see your teammate and you want to get the puck to him directly.
And that's a panic play.
It's a panic play in a lot of situations, but you got to consider the element of the boards. The boards are your friend.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't necessarily like basketball where nobody wants to touch the glass. It's like it's not skilled to touch the glass and use it to your advantage. But in hockey, off the boards, off the window, do whatever you need to do because if there's somebody right in between you, well, you've got to make a miss one way or another.
Yeah.
And you could do that by reversing the play. I mean, it's just there's a lot of quick thinking you have to do. So for me, the thing it taught me is in pressure situations later in life, I always saw things a little bit like I did the rink, which is
I do that
there's more time than you think. It's the same thing as radio with
there's a lot
it's
more
going
time
faster when you're on than it actually sounds when you're off the air and you're listening to it.
Yeah, and I would say this, it's fun. That's a fun thing too, by the way, when you fall into a rhythm in doing radio. Having an understanding that the silence in your head is really fleeting. It's not as long as it feels like. It's not lasting as long as it feels in your head.
Yeah.
That's you'll hear people when they first get into radio or even TV to some extent, panic at the mere idea that they heard silence, when in fact it can be your friend. You can use it as a point of emphasis. You can use it to let a point linger. You can do all these things, but there is an initial panic when you hear that silence because it's not a silent medium. So you're immediately thinking, I need to fill this.
Yeah.
And that's when people fall into crutches, and you don't have to, because when you're listening, like you said, it's actually not nearly as long, that silence, as you thought it was.
And in hockey, the puck comes to your stick, and you feel like if you go a tick, whatever that means in reality, but it's a half second, I don't know, but you go a tick and you're not doing anything, you could feel the weight almost pile onto your shoulders, like you need to do something.
Yeah.
But it's quite the opposite. Whereas last night you'd say to Jared Goff, get rid of the damn football. He did. He had no conscience for holding on to the football last night.
I know he was confused, and I know they got outclassed, and I know that
was very belittling. I know he was confused.
Well, he was confused, and hey, listen, a lot better quarterbacks than him have been confused by a Bill Belichick scheme. It's happened. I'm just, the thing of it is, I don't trust him and don't think he's very good, and he didn't play well last night, and you will see about time. That could help him out a lot, but I think he's going to be a middling quarterback.
Okay, so here's just a fun question on the way out. Transport, just for one night, Jameis Winston plays in that position. Mm-hmm. Do they win the Super Bowl? Do they win that game?
Oh, I think that's unfair for me to say to Jameis or vice versa to Goff. I don't know that they win. They make more plays down the field. I guarantee you that. Mm-hmm. They definitely do that.
Well, the anticipation, too, the Baldy's breakdowns today. I don't know if you saw some of those. Baldinger, I think he might have been out a little bit late last night because he seemed more ornery and raspy on his Baldy's breakdowns that came out first thing this morning, but he's yelling, get rid of the ball, because there are a couple of anticipatory throws that are so simple on third downs.
He's so rattled.
Angle routes or out routes, and he's not looking in the right place. And how many times did he miss a dump down last night?
Oh, terrible. And Romo certainly did a good job of pointing out how poorly Goff was playing. I mean, listen, the Patriots scheme is the Patriots scheme, and there was real defensive prowess there, but Goff was terrible. And I just think as the game went on, he got worse. The mounting pressure of the moment, they were suffocating him. And I think, again, the experience of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and Edelman and any number of other guys on that team, it really showed through last night, because they were having a real hard time against that Rams defense. But there was no real panic. There was no sense of we've got to make a play now. They were going to let the game come to them. They were going to work on some things. They ended up going double tights and changing up the game plan a little bit. And that kind of opened things up on that long drive. And when that happened and they got up, you kind of felt like that was a vice grip. Like 10-3 was probably good night, Irene. I never really thought you were going to see a great Rams drive put together by Goff.
Well, double tights and power packages set up the ability to go empty, though.
Empty, yeah. Well, and also to make them declare. So you began to do certain things. Listen, that team, that group, that coaching staff, Josh McDaniels, they've been there. They've been in these moments. You're going to be going against a good coach and a good team, one that's weathered the storm. If you're in the Super Bowl, you've played somebody who's been in some big games and won their fair share. So you got to understand that it may not happen now. It may be the middle of the second quarter. It may be, hell, in this case, late third. You've got to figure some things out. As long as you're holding up your end of the bargain on the other end, you can play field position until you do figure it out.
McDaniels was asked on, I think it was an NFL Network post-game interview. They always do a good job. I mean, last night the desk was LaDainian Prime and Chris Thompson. But that's where Dion shines, is when he's interacting with players after a game and he's just doing on-the-fly analysis.
Much better.
And he's not sitting in the couch, and just like the self-aggrandizing type of media. Instead, just a true post-game show. So they were pivoting between desk segments and then on-the-field interviews that their reporters were conducting. And McDaniels was asked, did you have any doubt that you guys would win? And, of course, the answer is always going to be no, right? But he said it in such a way that, he didn't believe it for a second that they were going to lose that game. He goes, oh, no, we weren't going to lose that game. That is the experience factor that you're talking about.
Yeah, man. And he's never going to leave. That's become very clear. He wants to take over for Bill Belichick. And so
I think assurances were made. That's why he didn't take that Indy job.
Well, he hasn't taken any of these jobs.
Yeah.
Every year he's offered a slew of jobs.
It's like, Brent Venables is clearly happy at Clemson, and his kid's there, so people know not even his name doesn't appear anywhere.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And McDaniel's name didn't appear anywhere.
Well, and it's funny because the second you'll hear a whisper, like the very moment, the week that the name comes out in some capacity, it's already thrown away. It's thrown to the side almost immediately. Within 24 hours of a buzz or something, you'll hear Josh McDaniel has reiterated that he's happy in New England. You're just like even if it wasn't.
I just would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for Belichick's night last night. I mean, that he's openly admitting that he's going to go celebrate and party. He's starting to see the forest for the trees, so I can't imagine. He must have been in rare form last night.
It's a lot of titles, man. That's a lot of championships. I think we marvel the most at he and Saban and guys like that who are just so motivated by the next championship, and I don't have that. I really don't. I'm telling you now, I admire it. I admire it. It's a unique gift. It's also a curse, I think. I would tell you that if for some reason, I've said this before, whether it's financial or personal, whatever it might be, if you and I, if tomorrow they said, Jeff, we want you and Tom to sign a 10-year deal to be host in New York City, and they're paying us what that would entail, right? Commiserate to the job title. Or L.A. or one of the top two markets in the country.
New York. I can talk New York sports, sure.
Yeah, but so the point would be, but I'd rather live in L.A. But anyhow, the point would be this.
That market sucks in New York, though.
Yeah. Oh, we
Michael K versus
we do all right.
The Mad Dog.
Oh, but anyhow, so the point would be, if we sign that deal, and let's say it was worth multiple millions, okay, and we were able to take care of family and everything else, and we had reached that pinnacle, we would do that job. We'd go in and work hard every day. I would. At the end of that contract, I'm done. There's no more. I'm going away. We have reached and achieved this goal. Mm-hmm. The millions are there. You've got time with family and friends and travel and things you want to do. It's not about the next contract. Can I double what they just paid us? Can I now be the best TV host in the world? I don't have that. I don't. I know that about me, and I wouldn't have it in sports either. I'm telling you that right now. If I won 4 or 5 championships and I was in a gladiatorial sport like football and body concerns and all that were a thing, peace, man. I don't need 8 rings.
Yeah, it's hard to get to 4 or 5 without having that in you in the first place. It's almost impossible to get there.
Yeah, but I think if you win early, you could have it because you're on your first contract, maybe your second contract. You could do it then. Hey, I'm 24. I'm feeling good. I just happened to get drafted by a team that was on the pinnacle or on the cusp of winning. But if I'm that guy that's 36, still in the league, and I win the Super Bowl, I'm not coming back next year, man. I am gone. I got it. It happened. How many guys have we seen do that, right? It's their final year or it's penultimate year. Yeah, I'm done.
It was, hockey, Anderchuk was our captain for that team. They had a lockout, a full year away. So we held the cup for 2 years. And Andy came back.
I know.
It's like, okay, for what?
No, why?
But, the silence
when you're gone,
of being
you're gone.
Out of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's true. When you're done, listen, it's not the same.
Like, wouldn't you miss this?
I absolutely would.
Maybe not the first month, but if you had enough to retire and you're like, all right, off into the sunset I go.
Yeah, I'd miss this.
After about a month of playing golf, golf's great and you could continue to do it, but after a month of doing it.
I did a real good job of being a consultant for 6 months, Tom, and
you knew you weren't retiring.
But I made the most of my consulting job for those 6 months. I didn't sit around, save for a few times, maybe when Florida State beat Duke on the snare shot. A couple other times, maybe the ACC championship.
Well, 3 of those 6 months are the summer. If it was a football season you missed, you would have been sitting on your hands and pissed off.
Maybe. But I'll just say that I love my job. Don't get me wrong. And this is, I have a dream job. But I would tell you that, when you get married and have kids and stuff, it's just, if I had enough money to spend more time with them, I think I'd have to consider that, certainly. I mean, I'm 30, but I'm 47. I'm not 21, right. 24. If you're just, you know what I mean? I love this, and I'm going to keep doing it. And as long as they pay me to do it, and we get good ratings, and we continue to have a good rapport, and and this is something that I have a passion for, I'll keep doing it. Even if I inherited a lot of money tomorrow, I'd still want to do it. To your point. But these guys that climb and climb and climb, win a championship, put in the hours, 20 hours a day. I don't work 20 hours a day. Bill Belichick and those guys are working 18, 20 hours a day. No way. If you did anything 18 or 20 hours a day, anything.
You would have to.
It'd still work.
Not to them, though. It's an obsession to them.
That's what I mean.
It's an obsession that just comes with a check.
But a really large one. But I think that's what I mean. I think it's unhealthy. Yeah. I marvel at it, but I don't think that that's a well-balanced human being. I doubt there are a lot of joy to hang around. I imagine that they've got real issues.
The funny thing is, if you take that work ethic and you apply it to a teacher, you say that person is like a godly person, but they might still be the same level of obsessed and out of balance.
Still work, man. Still work. You can't be all one thing all the time. I don't care what it is, even if it's going towards the greater good. You know, if you're not just a football coach, if you are saving the world, well, that's great, man, but you got to have some balance so that you can continue to save the world. You got to save your juice. You got to have energy to do the things you want to do, whatever it's a work passion or a personal passion. You can't do all those things for 20 hours a day and then come back and do it again over and over and over and over and over and over again and do nothing else because there's no time for anything else at that point and not have an imbalance in your life. Even if you're rescuing dogs or whatever you're doing, you know, you're trying to help the homeless, whatever. I mean, that's a noble cause. We would all agree upon that. It's a great thing to commit yourself to. But if that's all you did every day, got up and did it all over again the next day, I'm not saying I wouldn't admire you. I'm saying you probably need to find some balance. You probably got some issues going on at home. And that's why I look at Saban and Belichick or even Brady, and I'm going, you got a moat around your mansion. What are we doing?
Well, you know, when he did his interview with Tracy last night after the 5-minute delay of getting that all set.
She was a warrior.
She was a warrior. I was
proud of her.
She was going to rip somebody's head off.
Well, if you're working that hard to get that interview, that's all you're there for. Now, let's not kid ourselves. We don't care anything you had to say during the game.
I got him.
Yeah.
I got him.
Yeah. Well, listen, get the hell back, cameraman. What are we doing here? Anyhow.
Some places are still operating on the deadline, dude, you know?
No, I get you got to get a picture, but God, dog.
Got to get to cropping.
We got nothing tonight. A little Spain and Fitz for that ass. There you go. But tomorrow we got basketball.
That's correct. Tomorrow, we got the court report that we're doing ahead of the Syracuse game. And then we have some ACC hoops beginning at 7:30. That's when coverage starts. NC State, North Carolina.
I like it.
Anthony Edwards will not be at that basketball game.
No, he will not because he can't wait to be here for the game against Louisville where we'll do the deck party, and then we'll head on over and make it really loud in the TLC and celebrate the commitment of one Anthony Edwards. Woo! What
that's
day
a
that's
halftime show.
That's going to be a win and a commitment. That's going to be the moment you're compelled to start talking about the Final Four.